What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Week Zero podcast. Lucas is not here, unfortunately. He has something called a job where he earns another thing that I don't know about called money. So, exactly. To my left is Andrew Supermax Koster wearing his Max Verstappen jersey, or Max Verstappen. I want to say jersey, but
it's actually a Red Bull shirt, but yeah.
Red Bull shirt.
Okay, I'm good.
Below me is Ryan. We are all going bowling, Fravel. Unfortunately, we're not all going to get strikes, which means Notre Dame's going to lose because they suck.
No.
And I'm your host for today. I'm Connor. Brandon Graham made the long trade story. He decided to flip from Virginia Tech to Maryland, and he will be proven wrong on December 29th when Virginia Tech whoops Maryland's ass in the Pinstripe Bowl game. And I'm going to be subjecting myself, along with the rest of my family. I'm forcing them to deal with the cold weather of New York in the middle of December. So,
to go watch Marcin Burmeister's offense.
Well, at least Cornelson's not there anymore. Thank God.
Yeah, thank God for that.
So we'll have to see. But obviously, that has happened. So this show, obviously, there's not going to be any pick'ems at the end. Now we're going to do any real, any of our normal segments or anything. So many sounds already at the beginning of the show. That's what, 5 already at this point?
Yep.
It's like 4 or 5. So what I think we'll just do is we'll quickly do a recap of the only game that happened, Army-Navy, and then we'll just talk about the coaching carousel and National Signing Day because a lot has happened. So first off, Army-Navy. Navy proved us all wrong, so we all took Army. I feel bad because I should have taken Navy, being a Navy fan and all that, having grown up there. So what did you guys think of the game?
I didn't even watch it. I was busy doing other things. I was actually dealing with an ear infection on Saturday, so I
hit the bruh button.
Yeah, it was I felt bad. I didn't get a chance to really watch it. My ear was in pain, so that's not really what I was focusing on. Unfortunately, I just went back and saw the score. I was like, I had to rub my eyes a little bit, and yeah.
So I did get to watch a little bit of this game. Funny enough, the one time I did turn it on, I got to see I was corrected before the stream, by the way, but it was Navy. I got the two teams mixed up because usually Army's the team that sucks in this game.
Well, that's the tradition since 2002.
Yeah. So
in the last 5 years, they've been, I think, the more dominant team.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but Navy still has I think a 13 or 14 game lead over on the series, just because of that winning streak.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's kind of a shame that you didn't get to watch this game, Andrew, because we got to see a bunch of weird fourth down play calls.
And there was actually a lot more passing in this than you would have believed. Even before the Army was driving to try and win the game, there was at least a total of 10 plus pass attempts between the teams before that. I was like, what are we watching? Is this 1925, not 1895 we're watching here? It was unbelievable.
I mean,
into the future.
Go ahead.
I did see one play that was actually, it was very un-Army Navy like, where a dude literally basically stepped on, or almost it looked like kicked another, the Army guy kicked the Navy guy
on the Navy player, and they both got called for unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah. Well, I think the Navy guy was doing something though too.
He was holding on to his ankle, so the Navy guy lets go, and then lets go, and then he stomps him. And then the guy that stomps and falls down and pretends like he just got hit in the leg, like a soccer player, does one of those fake falls and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the stats for this game, it was actually pretty even. The only difference was those fourth down play calls. Navy was 3 for 3 on fourth down, while Army, I think, was 1 for 3 on fourth down attempts. And the one that Navy got, which was kind of hilarious.
It wasn't even called. It wasn't even meant to be called. He called for a line change, and the freshman, the long freshman, and he misheard, and he snapped it directly to the linebacker and smacked him in the face. But he still was able to catch it. He was able to catch it and get 3 yards for the first down.
And the announcers actually thought it was like a legit play call. Like
they didn't until the end when he got interviewed. He was like, "Oh yeah, no, that was not planned at all." And everyone was like, "What?"
Yeah, it's like your linebacker did that was an amazing play. We didn't think out of anybody your linebacker would get it. He's like, no, it was an accident.
Ken Niumatalolo, the head coach, said that was a mistake. That was not supposed to happen. He just called it a mistake.
Hey, give credit to that linebacker though for getting that first down.
I'm just surprised, I guess, more that
Diego.
I'm just surprised why Army had only 13 points, not even 250 total yards of offense. I mean,
it was their worst offensive performance the entire season.
Yeah, I was very surprised. But I guess also when you're Navy and you played this offense so many times, I guess you kind of can. It is kind of easier when this is like obviously when you're defending this and it's your own offense that runs it. But yeah, just looked like from what I've seen, it looks like it was a pretty overall very low scoring defensive game overall though.
Army didn't score any points in the second half. They went into halftime up 13-7 and didn't score anything in the second half. They had 57 total yards of offense in the second half.
Man, that's wild, actually.
But funny enough, though, the game did end because Navy couldn't convert on fourth down. So I mean, the Army
couldn't.
Army couldn't, and it was game over.
Yep. So. And as for what Luke just asked here, well, Luke, what's going to happen is he's going to, in about 3 weeks, he's going to fake some sort of medical condition and just retire and then be back coaching in about another 2 years or so for Urban Meyer.
Well, according to him, Urban says he's not ever going back to college and he's going to stay the coach at Jacksonville.
No, he's going to get sacked.
He's going to get fired and no one's going to hire him.
Is it bad that I hope he stays in Jacksonville so he can ruin Trevor's career and just make him a bust?
That's just wrong, dude. That's just wrong.
That's it. No, that's enough.
Hey,
no, dude,
Trevor had everything he wanted in college. Okay. It's time for him to get little.
Yeah, but
he's already doing that this season.
But that's just wrong to say.
But I do think that people are blaming
him
Urban
being
for
good
it.
is good for the NFL. Like it would be
Urban
so good.
No, it's not.
How is it not good for the NFL?
Because you see, like even TJ, was it TJ Leaf or whatever the hell his name was? He was all hyped up and stuff. Ryan Leaf, yeah. Dude was hyped up to all hell, and then he
but Ryan Leaf was an absolute douchebag.
Like Trevor doesn't have any major
I'm saying because I've seen him play multiple times this year. The thing that annoys me is that if this was any other quarterback, aka Josh Rosen, aka any other quarterback that's came out in the first round, Josh Allen even, their first year, they'll play like garbage and they'll get ridiculed for it. But Trevor plays like absolute garbage.
No, Trevor's been getting, plenty of people have been saying he's been playing terrible, but they are blaming him more on the fact that Urban's
but they're blaming Urban for his interceptions and his
it's not even that. He literally put James Robinson in the doghouse for no reason.
Everything with Urban's making the thing a soap opera there.
Well, if you're gonna have a quarterback, if you're gonna have a quarterback pass 40 times and rush, and you're gonna have your best player rush the ball for like 6 times in a game, that's not going to be good for any player.
But it's not like that. He doesn't have anybody to throw the ball to. He's got Marvin Jones, who is still a good receiver.
Yeah,
DJ Chark, who is underrated.
His receivers have been absolute garbage this year.
Dude, it's not all Trevor's fault. Sure, there's been some bad reads and stuff, but at the same time,
no, I understand that. I don't think Urban's a good coach in the NFL. I don't even know why he left to go to the NFL in the first place. But my issue with it is, I want people to tell it how it is. I don't want, because Trevor was supposed to be the best quarterback prospect since Peyton Manning.
You're just mad because Trevor owned Notre Dame. Quiet.
No, it's not that. I don't like when people treat players differently in the media. Like Josh Rosen got way more crap.
Okay, but Josh Rosen also got a chance to play on multiple teams and was terrible everywhere he went. He wasn't even that good in college.
You guys can't make an excuse though that his game decision making when he's
definitely messed up. He's definitely messed up at times.
That's not all because of him that he's.
We're not saying that it's like all him, but we're not also saying it's all not him.
No, I'm saying those people that say, if Trevor was playing for this team or this team or this team, he would be
No, he probably
rookie
has
of the
some
year.
growing
I mean,
pains.
no, because I mean, just it's also just the team around him. He's not. You put Mac Jones, or if you
I think Mac Jones would
and
do
Mac
good with
Jones,
DJ
you'd have
Chark.
to probably Trevor be doing just
When he's
fine.
having to run for his life 2 seconds after he's getting the ball, no, he wouldn't. What are you talking about?
No, I'm saying I just think that he's got receiving weapons. People are saying acting like DJ Chark is just some bum.
Okay,
Chark's
I
not
checked,
there.
you
He
can't
hasn't played this season. He has an ACL.
No,
injury.
not but D.D. Westbrook. Look, I look at it this way.
D.D. Westbrook. Who the fuck is that? Sorry,
D.D.
he
Westbrook?
hasn't done anything this year.
Yeah, dude,
I'm saying okay, but I'm saying
Spinola's been terrible.
Gardner Minshew did better with these weapons last year than Trevor is doing.
He also didn't have as worse of a coach as
Wait,
he had
It's
last
the
year.
same team.
Doug-
It's literally
Doug
the
Marone was
same
pretty
team,
bad.
just different
The
coach.
same team that had the first
Luke
overall
or
pick.
Ryan, he wants Urban to be Notre Dame's head coach.
Yes.
That'd be
I am
hilarious.
all for that. Yes.
No,
Go
You
ruin
know
that
that
for
drunk
Ryan.
in a-
He wins. No, he wins you a title, but then in 3 years he leaves you guys, and you are just completely destroyed for the next 5 years.
Honestly, so
And
basically Lou Holtz.
That's what he
Basically Lou
does.
Holtz.
That's what
Basically
Urban
Lou
does.
Holtz. We won a championship in
These
88, and then he
I
left
feel
us.
like if you put Trevor in any other team that drafted a quarterback this year, he'd be doing better than he's doing now.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
maybe
the
the
team is awful.
Patriots.
Except the
Maybe
Texans.
the Patriots. But I still don't think.
I'd say he'd be doing better than Fields, but I mean, actually, no.
Oh,
No.
no.
No, I don't
no.
care who you're putting there, bro. They're dead. They're
There's
dead
a reason
Nagy-
the
that's
Bears have
Nagy's
never
fault.
had a quarterback pass for like over.
because they're the Florida State of the NFL. They don't like to recruit an offensive line for some weird reason. They don't want a good offensive
And they
line.
don't like drafting quarterbacks in the first round, and then when they do, they poop the bed. Like,
Well,
just
Jay Cutler wasn't bad. I'm not going
he
to say
was
he was the best one they've had, which I mean,
he was good with the Broncos, but like when he's your best overall quarterback, like stats wise in your franchise's history, that's sad. Like that is actually sad.
yeah. But here's the thing with Trevor. Also, he has been having he has no offensive line. He's almost the same.
The offensive line isn't too bad. They got Linder on there, who's a good center.
They're okay.
I mean,
but they're still.
man,
I'm just saying, it's not like he has like the best situation. Obviously, you expected. We knew he was going to have some growing pains. I wasn't expecting Trevor to make this team like a.
there were people that said, "Oh, this is a Super Bowl team with Urban."
All right,
Meyer
those
and
people are
Trevor."
idiots. I
No
could
one
have
was
told
saying
you.
that.
All right, those
No one
people who
was
said
saying
that
that.
are probably snorting crack or something. I don't know.
But
what to tell you, buddy.
how long? We can move on, but how long are we giving Trevor until?
You get
officially
5
almost.
years. I think you
Yeah,
get
5
5 years.
years. Okay.
3 to 5
Like
years.
everyone else.
I think.
Well, Drew Lock is already a bust. He got drafted a couple years ago.
Well, I mean, I think you get at most drafts. I think you got to give any draft like in its entirety 5 years before you can really give it a good.
Josh Rosen was considered a bust after 1 year. That's why they got cut.
That's also just because
Josh Rosen, I knew before he even got drafted.
It's also the Cardinals
I
just
don't
kind of-
know why he got so much hype.
I don't
genuinely
either.
don't.
The Cardinals just kind of ruined because Cardinals were bad, and then they're doing pretty much what happened. The same thing with like Lawrence this year, but they were terrible, and they just threw him into the fire and didn't give him any support, and then they're so bad they just throw him to the side after 1 year, and then he hasn't had a chance since. So is he a bust? Yeah, but at the same time, he hasn't really been given enough of a proper
But do you
chance.
call Drew Lock a bust?
Well, no, because he's what, a third round pick, second, third
He's
round
a
Yeah,
pick.
second
he's
round
not
pick. He was an early
Nah.
second round.
That's not.
I'm not.
I wouldn't say that's a.
I'm not gonna say that's a buster or nothing.
No, I think
can't
I think
say that.
I mean, you
If
can
it's a-
say- I think whenever I think of the term bust, I think of a first
I
maybe
agree.
second round pick. But
But
really
the Broncos drafted him thinking he would be the quarterback in the future.
I mean, he's had flashes here.
Okay,
And
they
there,
thought
but
he
like at
might
the same
be,
time, it's just
but-
like
Yeah, no.
I really think bust can only be applied to first round picks, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Once you get to especially once you get to the second and the third and anything beyond that, you can't say
Even
you
a
can get
early
any level of contribution from any player is not a bust, no matter how little. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we've been talking about that. way too long with Urban.
Yes.
Not even talking about college stuff at all.
Hey, we gained viewers. We gained viewers.
Yeah, I mean, we gained some viewers, but we need to talk about the coaching carousel. Obviously, we've talked a little bit about these, but we'll be able to talk about them a bit more. And obviously, since Lucas isn't here, we don't have to talk about Oregon because no one cares about Oregon besides him. So I think we need to start off with Lincoln Riley going from Oklahoma to USC. If you have that banner.
I do actually.
Yeah. Because then that affected what happened with Brian Kelly, who we'll talk about next after that. Because
they created the domino effect.
Yeah, because Riley had been linked to LSU for a while before that, and then he suddenly flips and goes to USC.
And he said, literally the day before the news broke, I remember he said, "I'm not going to LSU." He's like, you did. I just never said I was going to LSU. I never said I was leaving. So everyone who thought he was staying,
congratulations, you played yourself.
But I was very surprised by the move, to be honest. It just doesn't make sense. We talked about it already once before, a little bit on the show. It's USC. Yeah, it's a historically good program, but a program that really hasn't been great since the 2000s. I mean, obviously they had the one good year in 2016, the 2 good years in 2016.
But even in 2016, they still got.
It still felt flimsy. Like it didn't feel like it was going to last. You know what I mean?
That's why.
Was that Clay Helm's first full year? Was that 2016? Was his first full year? Clay Helm.
Clay Helm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
but I'm saying even in that year, the thing that angers me about USC.
Darnold? Who did they have besides Darnold at quarterback?
They had at quarterback. I don't know.
I remember there was so much hype about.
It was after Darnold left. It was JT Daniels, and then it was Slovis because JT Daniels got hurt early in the season.
Yeah, was it Darnold? It probably was Darnold because they did so well, and then they come in after. It was like they play and beat Texas in 2016.
They beat Penn State in the Rose Bowl, which was arguably one of the best games of all time.
They still got blown up by Notre Dame that year.
Oh my God, dude! Shut up, Notre Dame. Okay, what happened? Not in 2016.
Yeah, they did. That was the game they came and Josh Adams ran all over the place.
No. Wrong. You're thinking the wrong year. 2016 was the year y'all. No, 2016 was the year y'all were absolute poop.
That was when we had Josh
That's when
Adams.
Adoree Jackson. Y'all were playing at the Coliseum next year. I remember it, and because I was looking for
but Sam Darnold was on that team. Maybe.
Okay, he was on. Okay, it was 20. It was either 2017 or 2015 because Adoree Jackson. I remember hurdled a Notre Dame player in the 2016 game and made y'all look silly.
But then they got smacked the next
okay,
year.
Congrats. Notre Dame still sucks.
He was still the most overhyped quarterback.
Yeah, he was. I
didn't buy any of the hype on Darnold.
No, I mean I didn't either.
I remember coming into that game, he was a Heisman favorite, and people were like, "Oh, Josh Adams, he's had a nice year," and then after that game, they're like, "Yeah, Josh Adams is up for Heisman now."
Yeah, and then they got smacked by Miami. So that's 2017. So we can talk about that.
2017 Miami with the. I blame Notre Dame for the true birth of the turnover chain.
That's okay. Clemson killed it. And then Clemson,
you don't blame Notre Dame. You blame Brandon Wimbush for that. That was his fault.
No, it's Notre Dame. Last I checked.
Well, no, Miami had it, but that was that was the national game where they blew Notre Dame out, and then you started seeing it more and more because it got.
Okay, one year.
Carter. Let's act like Virginia Tech didn't play part in this either the game before.
What?
Let's not act like what Miami just did and also torch Virginia Tech pretty good the game before.
Yeah, but that was the game that I think. No, that was the game.
Are part of this. You both are part of it.
That was the game.
Both of you.
But the Notre Dame game was on ABC. It was the night.
But you're not listening.
Brandon Wimbush threw 3 pick sixes. A turnover chain watch cam. There was a specific camera right next to the turnover chain box.
I remember that. Too.
Don't blame us. Blame Wimbush. He threw 3 pick sixes. Okay,
last I checked, Wimbush is part of your team, so I'm blaming.
He was ass. He was ass. That's why.
Okay, so has Notre Dame been since the last couple of years. So whatever.
Ian Book
blah blah. Ian Book still got owned by Clemson when they had their starters play. But listen, I think the thing is also we need to look at is USC. He's still got a lot of work to do at USC Lincoln Riley. I went over and I looked at their recruiting rankings, and I don't see them high up there.
Even with getting like the guys that switched from Oklahoma to USC for this year.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. No.
Top 50, I don't think. If I look,
Didn't they have a 5-star quarterback recruit switch from Oklahoma to USC? Or was that 2023?
Maybe 2023.
It was like Malachi something.
USC's been trying to flip a lot of people. I guess the biggest thing they got.
They are 7th in the 2023 class. That is correct.
I'll say this though. CJ Williams is a good pickup. He was he originally committed to USC, but he only decommitted from Notre Dame because he wanted to go play with Lincoln Riley in his system.
Yeah, no one wants to go play in the anyway. But I just it's going to take some work. I think he can get that program back as long as the board.
Yes,
it's a big question for them. Yeah, he's in an easier conference. Really, your toughest team right now is Oregon. Stanford's down.
Utah,
they were. Utah isn't going to be consistently good. Come on.
Okay.
They're
having all their players returning.
One really good season and be very mediocre. It's
just like Utah has not. They've been good at times, but they haven't been consistently good.
And then you have Arizona State randomly have one really good year. Like this year, they were 8-4, and then they'll be down to like 5-7 or 6-6 the next year after.
I think going into next year, I would say Utah 1, 2, Oregon 2, and then I would put at 3. Actually, I'd put Arizona State above USC, and then USC.
We'll see.
I think Oregon State could be up there too. Honestly, I think Oregon State could be good too.
Maybe it's just so hard to tell because, they've got 2 5-star already commits for the 2023 class.
Well, also, is DTR returning for UCLA?
No, I think he's not. For UCLA, he's not. I don't think.
No.
Why wouldn't he?
I don't know. I've just been hearing that apparently the bowl game might be his last game.
Yeah.
Where he's not going to get drafted very high with him not playing half the season.
Well, I mean, maybe he doesn't want. It's like kind of the same thing with Justin Ross. He doesn't want to take the chance of getting hurt again. So, Ross
would have been a first-round pick if he hadn't been injured last year.
Well, I mean, to be fair, this condition they found, he never showed up before, and it was like life-threatening. So it's not like it just randomly came up, which is
I don't know why JOK went as far as he did either, because he was projected.
He had a heart condition.
I know, but still, like he was. I
it's
mean,
just like his sweat fell. He was supposed to be like a top 10 pick, and he fell all the way to like 26 because he had a heart condition.
I'm surprised other people aren't talking about JOK.
But he got like a second opinion at the combine, and they said, it might have been a misdiagnosis. So it's like it was a steal of a pick by Washington.
Has he not been playing good, by the way?
Well,
because I haven't seen him
been injured. Sweat's been injured.
JOK.
So
JOK. No, he was playing against the Ravens. He was there.
I'm saying
he's not been. It's just like I haven't heard his name said much in terms of like around the league, but he was playing.
Has he not had good season? Because from my understanding, he has, and I don't understand why I haven't seen him for Rookie of the Year for defense at least.
Because he's not anywhere close to Micah Parsons or anybody else.
No one else is close to Micah Parsons.
It's pretty much Micah Parsons and nobody else.
No, Surtain is nowhere close to Micah Parsons.
It's not Surtain. No,
it's break a record hasn't been broken since 1954.
Oh my God!
It's Parsons.
It literally.
How? Surtain is the best corner in the.
I will bet you $20 that Parsons will win it.
Yeah,
I want you to tell me, how do you have the most interceptions ever by a rookie cornerback since 1954?
Because Parsons has 13 sacks and leads the Cowboys and the league in tackles.
But then he got destroyed by Javonte Williams.
He leads the Cowboys in sacks.
Like Parsons had a bad game. Surtain hasn't had a single bad game all year.
He got beat by Marquise Brown.
That wasn't his assignment. That was Justin
Simmons. It's also he's on a better team that's going to play. That's going to matter as well.
Who's on a better team?
Defensively, yeah. He's on the Cowboys.
No. The defensively.
Yeah, but they already had a better team. Parsons is a part of the reason this Cowboys defense has gotten to where it has. A defense that's been memed in the NFL for a long time. Heck,
why isn't Surtain getting any love though? Like it's hard being
because he's the Broncos and no one cares about the Broncos, Brian.
He even has 38 tackles for a corner. That's a lot.
Oh my God! Who the hell?
Enough talking about the
cares?
NFL, dude. Come on, let's get back to college and your boy Brian Kelly leaving because he realized
And it's
LSU was a
fake
better program.
accent.
And it's as Luke asked,
Cringe.
accent or
Cringe.
accent. Dude somehow literally went from sounding like he's from the north in Massachusetts where he was born to sounding like he got a southern accent within a day.
Yeah.
So obviously this was the next domino that fell, because once Lincoln Riley to LSU fell through, then Kelly decided to bolt to LSU for no reason, like all of a sudden leaving Notre Dame high and dry when they were potentially could have been in the playoff. So, you know, oh, and great, the numbers have dropped because we're talking about Notre Dame because no one else gives a shit about Notre Dame.
Yeah, there you go. No, it's because Ryan is obsessed with the Broncos, and no one see that viewers don't care about the Broncos either. So there you go. So this honestly really caught me off guard. And I'm thinking it caught the rest of the college football world off guard because there was no signs that Brian Kelly was gonna go. It seemed like.
Oh yeah, no,
it seemed like he was gonna be at Notre Dame for a long time. I just this one was like wow. I think it's hilarious, but it's wow.
It didn't make sense either.
It didn't make sense either. No, Marcus
Yeah.
is going to be about shut up. All right, we'll talk about him later. But Brian Kelly, he's good. I mean, obviously he put Notre Dame now to help put Notre Dame to where they are. I mean, yeah, he hasn't come. They didn't finish it off with a national championship there, but he got them to the playoffs multiple times. He got him to a national championship as well. But it's now the question is can he he's got a hot recruiting bed to work with now at LSU, who basically owns who's basically owns the state of Louisiana when it comes to recruiting. He's got Texas right next door. He's got now the SEC pitch he can play for. He actually now, guys, if you play for me, we can actually play for a conference championship.
And now he also, I think, has been given he's been promised the largest largest budget for staff in the entire country. I think, right?
Yeah, and he's shown obviously that he can put a good staff together. Hence, getting Marcus Freeman Ryan
from Cincinnati.
Yeah. But I think this is going to be, it's going to be kind of you're going to have to kind of start from square one. LSU fans, you can't expect him necessarily to get this program like competing with Bama in a year. It's going to take at least a year or Georgia or anything. I'm just saying more just in the West first.
Well, even on the LSU message boards, a lot of fans do not like that he's their coach now.
Well, I think they just didn't like him from his time at Notre Dame.
No, it's not that. Well, also because we beat them. We're 3-0 against them in bowl games. But
yeah, you did beat them.
We're against not in bowl games, not in the Sugar Bowl in 2006 when Jamarcus Russell.
It doesn't matter. Brian Kelly wasn't there.
Okay, yeah, but you made Jamarcus Russell a first-round pick.
That is a special kind of talent right there for Notre Dame.
Yeah, never forget. I remember that, and I'm just like, dude, no.
That was his last win, and that was his last ever career win. If you look at his record, he didn't have any wins in the NFL. True fact.
But
I'm just kidding. He had like
a lot of LSU fans. The reason they don't like Brian Kelly is I've seen a lot of them say that he did the same stuff to Cincinnati. He did the same thing to Notre Dame. What makes you think he's not going to do the same thing to us if it gets too tough in LSU with all the expectations?
Well, I mean, how long was he at Cincy? What, 4 or 5 years?
I think like 3 or 4 years.
He's been though at Notre Dame for a long time.
12 years for Notre Dame?
It's not like he just has like hardly been there.
No, but not that, but also the loyalty factor, and also
the fact that he literally set the record for career wins at Notre Dame earlier this year, and
a lot of LSU fans, because Notre Dame fans complained about this for years. Brian Kelly is not a good in-game. What do you call it? He doesn't make good in-game adjustments, and two,
he's not a risk taker either.
Yes, he's not a coach that will go out and recruit. That is the two things that, from what I've read on the LSU fan boards and everything, they don't like this move because he's not LSU. He's not Southern. He doesn't have any connection to LSU. He's not a good recruiter, and he's not a good in-game adjustment.
I can't see him doing a fake field goal where they flip the ball, where the holder flips the ball over his head, score a touchdown. I can't see that happening.
He just doesn't scream LSU as a coach.
No,
like,
he doesn't. He doesn't.
Like, that would be like almost, to me, that would be the same thing as Chip Kelly going to Mississippi State to be a coach. Like, that would be two different styles, two different brands, just two different types of people, and it doesn't work. That's why I don't think it's going to work at LSU.
I can agree with that, Ryan. I think that the one thing that they loved about Coach O was he was one of their own. He was like,
and he literally sounds like he grew up in the bayou.
Yeah, and that's what. That's what I'm saying. It's like he was one of their own. I think, and even Les Miles felt like he could be like one of their own. He felt like he could have been one of their own even when he was there. He more fit their kind of like the environment at LSU.
Funny enough, a lot of LSU fans wish that, like they said, I've heard of listening to those, they're like, if I knew we were going to get Kelly, I'd rather have Coach O back.
Yeah.
I'm sure plenty of players are saying that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Coach O had his issues, don't get me wrong. But obviously we all agree he got let go too early. It was kind of like, though, the same thing with Auburn and Gene Chizik, as we've discussed before. But I think, we'll just have to see what he can do.
Do you think if they go any worse than like 8-4 next year, do you think immediately there are people going to be trying to call for his head? Any LSU fans?
If they do, honestly, they're idiots because they're right now with the number 18 recruiting class right now.
In his first year at Notre Dame, I'll say this: his first year at Notre Dame, they only went 7-6.
So people got to realize LSU, the last few years, has just been kind of a dumpster fire ever since the national championship. Everyone acts like they just had everything go their way. Yeah, and look at it with the recruiting class. It's going to be a little bit of a rebuild project to get them back to competing with Alabama in the West.
Also, the fact that they are in the same side of the conference with Alabama, A&M,
and Auburn.
And then if you even make it past them, then you got to face Georgia on the other side.
Exactly.
And then he's going to be there when Oklahoma and Texas come in, and they're probably going to be in that side of that division as well, which might be an extra win against Texas, but you never know.
Let me pose this question.
Maybe they fit well in the SEC. We have no idea.
Let me pose this question because I've heard this on a few sports shows and a lot of good takes. Like, if you really think about it, none of these coaches may win a national championship. Okay, but in the next 10 years, out of Marcus Freeman, Brian Kelly, Lincoln Riley, and let's put Dan Lanning in there at Oregon, which one of those coaches do you guys think has the quickest, or I guess if you rank them, who do you guys think will win a national championship from first to last?
Neither of them are going to win it, so that doesn't even matter. Of course, Ryan puts in Marcus Freeman. Only reason I'll say Marcus Freeman is because he just got put into an easy situation, being the head coach. Yeah, obviously it's his first head coaching job, but he's got already all the tools and everything for him. It's like set on the platter. If Marcus Freeman doesn't win a head coach at Notre Dame, I'm going to tell you right now, that's a failure. With all the tools he has,
no, definitely.
If he does not win a national championship with all the tools he has in Notre Dame, he's a failure.
I would say, and this isn't even being biased, I think Marcus Freeman has the quickest path to winning a national championship.
No, he does.
Because the recruiting the next couple of years, he has the stuff already there, and he doesn't have to rebuild.
If he takes a step back, and you guys are like 8-4, or something next year, there's already gonna be a fire under his ass.
Oh man, yeah.
I mean, dude, obviously you said Kelly was 7-6 his first year, but still,
that was when we were really bad, though.
Yeah, but still,
he's got a point. He's got a point. They were really bad.
But at the same time, there is a point. If you going from 11-1, potentially 12-1.
Well, you also got to look at the schedule. We play Ohio State and Clemson next year.
Well, I can tell you're probably going to lose that week 1 because is it at Ohio State?
It's at the Horseshoe.
That's probably a loss right there.
You're done.
I think you can be competitive. They don't have Olave.
You're done.
They still got Stroud, and We haven't heard whether Olave and Wilson are going to the NFL.
And Trayvon Henderson. Let's act like that guy isn't any good.
Okay, and every time Notre Dame's faced a big running back, we've stuffed him, a.k.a. Travis Etienne.
How'd you do the second game? In the SEC championship?
He literally shut up. You literally shut him up.
Yeah. Quiet, peasants.
Okay. Let's move on to the next domino that then fell a little bit later, which was Freeman just being promoted from DC to head coach. Ryan, we've heard you talk about that quite a lot. So you be quiet, Ryan.
I'll even mute myself.
Well,
he's going to mute himself.
Well, honestly, I think it is a good hire for them. And from what the players seem like they really love this guy. Mm-hmm. As much as I love to give Notre Dame crap, it does seem like they love this guy. And, you didn't really have that many other options at that point. I mean, who are you going to get at this point? Besides potentially Luke Fickell. And which I'm generally
going to stay there at least another year or two.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he did not get picked up by someone, but that's besides the point. I do think he has Marcus. This definitely has a lot of potential. Now, Marcus Freeman credit, he's never had a head coaching gig. But then again, Oklahoma hired Brent Venables, who's never had a head coaching gig either. But the guy can go recruit. He has made Notre Dame overall a good defense since he's been there. For the most part, even if they do choke in big bowl games, we'll see if he can actually break that hump. But honestly, I think that was actually a good hire for them to do.
So wait, Freeman will be coaching the bowl game, or will like an interim?
Yeah, he should. Well, it wouldn't. Yeah, I was about to say it wouldn't make sense for someone else as he's already been there.
He can just as if the NCAA rule is you can't have the new coach the bowl game unless it was a coach that was already on.
So since he's already there, he's like, you can already say. I mean, technically he's already the head coach, but you could just say he's the intern for that game.
Yeah. I think it was. Just given what they had, the other options they had, it was you're going to get Luke Fickell, you're going to get
or as someone from the group of five.
Someone from the group of five,
like Chadwell or Napier.
Yeah, and I think Napier was already at Florida.
Well, that was Napier was probably the biggest name that we thought was going to move. We didn't.
Well, from what Jack Swarbrick said,
we didn't think Riley or Kelly were going to move. We thought Napier was the biggest name that was going to move.
From what Swarbrick said, it was either Fickell, Freeman, or Matt Campbell. Were the only three people they were looking at.
That's something else I want to posit. We can talk about that a little bit later about Campbell. But
I respect though Campbell staying at Iowa State from what he has made them. At least not saying that they're obviously an elite program, but
very inconsistent.
They're much better than
they're better than when he got there for sure.
Oh yeah,
they're much better than they have been in the past.
I mean, he won them a dang New Year's Six Bowl last year. Yeah. So that no one ever would have thought Iowa State doing that. But I think overall this is a good hire for Notre Dame. Now we'll see how it pans out. Freeman's definitely got he's definitely got the opportunity. That's just no more. The question is can he take advantage of it?
What do you?
Luke's in the chat.
Oh my God. Your coach has never been a head coach either, Lucas. Calm down.
Yeah, but I'd take Lanning's probably better than Freeman as a defensive coordinator.
No.
Okay. I would say he's better as defensive coordinator, but also I will say Marcus Freeman seems like he is a better recruiter.
That's probably true too.
Yeah,
because Georgia is smart. That's Kirby Smart is the recruiter there.
Yeah.
What do you think though, Connor?
About Freeman? I mean, I think it's like you said. He was the best option. Probably it didn't make unless Fickell really wanted to leave. That might have made sense.
The thing with Fickell is if we wanted to get him, we wouldn't be able to get him till after the playoff.
Yeah,
and it'd be waiting way too long.
And then of course another bigger team could have or someone else could have somehow come in, maybe with more money or somehow could have swooped in and gotten him. Maybe like a USC if Riley had him.
It was also a fear because Marcus Freeman even said in his press conference that the night that he was named the head coach, Brian Kelly called him literally an hour before and said, "Hey, how would you like to come to LSU with me? Be my DC. We'll give a ton of money. He's like, well, yeah, I'd love to come to LSU. I need the money. I need a job. I'd love to. And he's like, we'll talk about it more later tonight. He's like, okay. And then literally like an hour later, Notre Dame's athletic director calls him and says, hey, how would you like to be the head coach at Notre Dame? He goes, okay, yeah, I like it. I'd love to be the head coach. I need the money.
That's pretty funny.
It's kind of funny that that's Brian Kelly.
He called Brian Kelly, said, hey, man, I'm sorry, but I'm the head coach.
But yeah, Freeman's good. Obviously, he's shown he's a good recruiter, and obviously that's going to be important for them. He's willing to go out and go on the road and recruit. Obviously, I think he'll probably he deserves at least a year or at least a full year before you can really, say or criticize him or start saying his seat's on fire if he doesn't do very well next year, which not very good. Could be like a 9-3 or worse season for Notre Dame, honestly. But I think it's a good choice. And there was no really other options that happened. Obviously, Brian Kelly leaving kind of blindsided Notre Dame, so they had to kind of scramble. But they didn't have to scramble that hard for it. But they panicked for a second there, it seemed.
Well, and can I also say it's hilarious because Brian Kelly didn't get his answer that Marcus Freeman wasn't.
He also did. Yeah, Kelly tried to bring everybody from Notre Dame with him, right?
Yeah. Well, funny story. Brian Kelly didn't know that Tommy Rees or Marcus Freeman were staying at Notre Dame until he seen the tweet about it.
Oh,
so it's just kind of a little payback. But I feel like this is either going to be a big splash hire for Notre Dame. Like this could go really well, and Marcus Freeman could elevate them to the next level, which is that elite tier, or it could either go really bad, and Notre Dame could go back to the way things were before Kelly came there, where it was a struggle to even.
Or what if he unfortunately is only able to keep it where it is now?
No, honestly, I'd be okay with that if he could just recruit. Because there's no issue with being 11-1. The issue is we don't have the players on every single. We may have one player like a running back that's on the same level as a linebacker from Clemson, but we don't have a wide receiver, quarterback, running back, O-line, defense to keep up with match up with every single player that Clemson, Bama, Georgia has.
Yeah.
Notre Dame always has like 1, 2, or 3 players that are on that level, but we don't have a full roster. That's where I think Freeman can kind of come in and recruit to where we can match up with the Jimmies and Joes against the Clemson and Alabama, because that's always been the issue. It's never really been the coaching or just the scheming. It's just, can you execute and can you be a better player than the player across from you?
Yeah. Okay. I think we've talked about Notre Dame. What's the next? What did you have for the next one?
There's
Do you have Oregon?
I did have Oregon. Mario Cristobal going.
We can talk about that. So Mario Cristobal leaves. Mario gets a huge amount of money from Miami, and also pisses off a lot of Miami teachers. Which did you guys read about that?
No, I did not.
So Miami last year had to cut like $100 million worth of faculty pay and other considerations and stuff because of the pandemic, and then they go and give Cristobal an $80 million contract, and the faculty is super mad at the school and the athletic director right now because of that.
I did not.
Obviously, they're focusing.
What do they get?
They're not focused on the academics, which. When I think of Miami, I don't think of academics. I think of convicts and football. I think of the South. I think of South Beach and football, and that's about it.
No, you think of shackles, convicts, and football.
Oh my gosh! All right, that's not the U in the 80s.
That's the 80s, Colin, dude.
Yeah,
that's when they were good.
They were good in the 2000s too. Let's not forget
2002.
That.
And
I take 2002 Miami against pretty much any team.
You know what? Can I just say, why is everyone scared to keep rivalries with Notre Dame? Miami even cut it off. Like
Miami's not even a rivalry thing.
No, back in the 80s and 90s, yes, it was. Especially in the 90s when we were competing for national championships with them, like in the early 90s. Like they kept it
probably
like
because
that.
Just how much money Notre Dame is probably trying to charge people to do it year to year.
Look who made it on.
Yo.
How were you able to do it? I thought you had to work.
Yeah, I just got home.
Why are you all fuzzy?
Because his thing was out of focus. That's
You're
why.
out of focus.
No, because his camera still can't handle the fact that Mario's gone.
Oh my god.
I ain't worried about it, dude.
Now,
Dan's
Lucas,
great.
I do need to know: is Dan Lanning gonna be there? Gonna come after Georgia gets to the playoff, or what? Or is he already there? I don't know what's going on with that.
So he went to he did like the introductory interview or whatever, or not interview, but like whatever you want to call it. He went there, did his little speech or whatever, talked to some of the team, and then I think he flew back to Georgia, and he is going to coach for their playoff, which I think is
I like
really,
that.
really good.
I like that. That's so. It's like what Kirby
How
Smart
much of a
did.
douchebag would that be
He's
if
still
he
fighting
didn't?
for a championship, obviously.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just didn't know. Like, you never know these days. I mean, that's what when Kirby Smart went to Georgia, he finished off his last year out there when they won the national
Can I
championship.
say though, like if coaches start pulling that stuff, that would actually.
Would you have been less mad at Brian Kelly
if we made it to the playoff and then Brian Kelly left? Oh.
Oh no, we would have been.
Well, yeah, and it's
No,
part
we
of the
would've been- no,
experience.
I'm saying if he coached you through the rest of the year, knowing he was leaving for LSU, would you have been more okay with it?
No, I actually would have had more respect for him.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you would have. You would
I
have
would
been
have
more
more respect for that, dude. I don't think it's right that coaches get to leave before. Like I feel like they should push back the national signing day a month, just so.
Well, they used to have it further back. They didn't start doing that till recently. Yeah, I agree. I don't like it as well, but I get also why they do it.
Because you know what, I literally.
Okay, guys. We need to talk about Mario Cristobal.
Yeah.
Let me put my 2 cents
Right,
into
I didn't mean
this.
to interrupt you, but we need to. Let's hear Lucas because he just joined us.
So perfect timing to join.
Yeah.
My thing about it is that it sucks. Yeah, it's unfortunate. But we've seen this kind of thing happen before, and it was funny because Dan Lanning kind of like poked fun at it because he was from some like I don't know, community college D3, whatever it was. That's where he went and played football. So he was like, if they came calling, I'd probably stay at Oregon. So it was kind of funny, but
that is actually hilarious.
So, but my thing about it is it was kind of inevitable. We kind of knew it was going to happen. I mean, Taggart already did it to us before. So we kind of had the idea that it was going to happen at some point. I mean, I think all of us can agree that Miami is in no way, shape, or form a better program at this current state than Oregon is. But they can be. So I think that's what Mario wants to, get them back to, is that they can be a really good program.
I remember a month ago when Lucas said, "Oh, Mario would never leave us."
Well, nobody thought that he would really leave because why would you?
Nobody thought Brian Kelly would leave either.
Or Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, and here's the thing is that Mario's getting paid less right now. He doesn't have a Nike deal with Miami either, which means he's making way less money than he did when he was at Oregon.
Yeah, freaking Adidas.
He's only there because it's his alma mater and he wants to get him back big.
And I respect that. I
don't think
that.
I'll ever be back to that.
It makes sense, but it's like, I mean, it's a job, dude. You got to make your money if you want a chance at a national title. Don't leave a team that has a top 10 recruiting class and the youngest team in the Pac-12, and you just went to a Pac-12 title, went 10-3. Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, also the fact that he left to go to his alma mater and then tried saying that Tyler Van Dimes is the best quarterback he's ever had.
He actually has the 6th best odds to win the Heisman next year right now.
I mean, haven't seen Tyler Van Dyke actually play when he destroyed Virginia Tech earlier this year. Like he looked incredible.
He's really good, and they're pulling a lot of guys from. I wouldn't say a lot, but they're kind of pulling guys from our recruiting class. I think Texas is pulling the most, which I know you guys saw that thing about Texas about how they're paying all their offensive linemen like $200,000 to sign or whatever it is.
You can do that now with the NILs.
Yeah. So basically, if they're on scholarship, they get like $200,000 for being on scholarship.
No, I thought
all the offensive linemen.
School couldn't pay them, but like
no, it's from like a booster or whatever the hell, but it's for all Texas offensive linemen.
Oh, some rich person that probably has a ton of money that they're sitting on.
And that's why they're saying I'm going on a tangent, but that's why they're saying that it's really a flawed system because they can just pay these kids, this amount of money to go to Texas because they have. I mean, UT has a lot of money. But anyways, back to Mario. It sucks. It's sad. He took a lot of guys. I loved Coach Maribal, our offensive line coach. He's like 5'6", but he was no line coach. Which is
what about
amazing.
Moorhead?
I'm not worried about Joe Moorhead. I'm actually quite happy. He is going to be coaching for the bowl game, but I'm actually quite happy that he's going somewhere else.
Why would you go to Akron though?
Because he coached there for like 5 years or whatever. When he first started coaching, he coached at Akron. And they offered him the job, so he went back there. But I'm not too worried about him. The ones I'm worried about are Coach Maribal, which I knew he was going to leave with Mario. He's one of the best O-line coaches in the country. And then Coach Feld, which is our strength and conditioning coach, which really, really sucks because I know that he hyped up those, all the kids and got them.
Maribal coached up Penei Sewell, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's one of the best offensive line coaches in the country, but he's also I think he was Mario's best man at his wedding. So so obviously he's going to go there. But, it sucks. I really like Lanning, though. I mean, I know I talked a lot of crap about Freeman not having a head coaching job, but I think that Dan Lanning has a little bit better resume than Marcus Freeman has anyways.
Well, he's also coached longer.
And he was on that 2015 Alabama coaching, whatever, all those coaches. He was part of that team. And then obviously being with Georgia for this long, it's like, it's definitely going to be one of those things where we're like, we wait and see. Hopefully,
you know what, though?
I mean, we get to start against Georgia. Our first game of the season's against Georgia, so
that'll be interesting.
We'll really get to see
neutral site.
I assume it's neutral site, unless they're.
I think it's in Athens.
Site, if it's in Atlanta or New Orleans, that's not true neutral site.
I think it's in Athens.
But Lucas, I'll say this because you and me are kind of in the same boat with this first-time head coaching thing and the younger coaches. If this goes well for both Oregon and Notre Dame, could we see programs going forward? Instead of looking for only head coaching experience, hire star defensive coordinators or offensive coordinators.
Well, look at what Oklahoma did with Brent Venables. Look, we gotta remember this.
Lincoln Riley, too.
Yeah, Lincoln Riley. Dabo Sweeney was a wide receivers coach, and he originally was an interim, and then he ended up becoming the head coach.
Well, and he was young too. So Lanning is 35. I'm sure Dabo is probably 35 when he got the head coaching job.
And so is Freeman. Freeman's 35.
Freeman's 35. Exactly. We actually today.
Brett Pry, I think is. No,
it's in Atlanta, by the way. The game against Georgia, Lucas. Yeah, so it's basically as a home game.
That's pretty much a home game. It's gonna be like 80-20 Georgia fans.
Yeah.
Well, and we don't travel very well. Did you see the Pac-12 title game? Man, that was terrible.
What happened to your
that Oregon doesn't travel that well in seems.
I think it was partially because we just got slaughtered by that same team, and our fans were like, "Nah, let's not go watch that same thing over again."
It was hilarious, though.
Honestly, I don't blame them.
When they showed the Oregon fans during that game, you guys were like down 24-0 or something like that, and Oregon fans are still jumping up and down, going "woo, woo," and I'm like,
well, because we have good fans. They just, I mean. Why would you want to go and watch us get slaughtered again? But we also hired on the Florida State's offensive coordinator as our offensive coordinator, which I'm iffy about. But they had a pretty good offense last year, and I think this year.
As long as it's not the offense that showed up against Jacksonville State.
Yes, I understand that, and it sucks. But they're also the offense that definitely showed up against Notre Dame.
So they're also the offense that struggled to score any points against the worst defense in college football in the Florida Gators.
I wouldn't say that they're the worst defense in college football, but
they're bad.
But he also has never had the talent that Oregon has. Florida State.
I will say
not
Florida
very
State
good.
has talent.
He
They
was
do have talent.
They don't have what Oregon has right now, but he coached with Dan Lanning at Memphis, and that was when Memphis was like one
Was
of the
that
better teams.
when they made it
was
to
that
the
under
New Year's
Fuente?
Six Bowl.
Was that
Yeah,
under
when they went
Fuente?
to it. Yeah.
I will give him credit
Dan
though.
Lanning was the defensive coordinator under Fuente at Memphis.
I don't know if he was
sure
the
it wasn't-
DC. I think
or
he was like
maybe-
the linebackers coach or something like
or-
that. But I know that the I keep
Or
forgetting
was it
his-
Mike Norvell?
Because Norvell was after Fuente at Memphis.
Yeah, Norvell was the one who got them to the Cotton Bowl. I remember.
Yeah.
I
I'm
will
pretty sure
say this,
Lanning was
though.
like a linebackers coach.
You can give the OC at Florida State some credit because he made Jordan Travis as the year went on.
Looked
He made
better,
him
looked
into
good.
a serviceable quarterback. Like that kid, like we gave Travis crap like early in the season, but as the season went along, I mean, even Anderson when they played Clemson, he wasn't honestly really that bad. Like
Yeah,
He's not bad, but he's not the guys that
inconsistent.
Oregon has.
That's
Oregon
true.
has 3 4-star freshman quarterbacks right now. So it's
Oh, that's not going to be an issue at all, and that's not going to.
yeah, it's not going to cause any transfer.
transfer now by midway through next year, dude.
yeah, but that's a good problem to have.
Not really. Notre Dame's got that issue with 3 4-stars and then an incoming 4-star.
That's a great problem to have.
yeah, that is a good problem. to have. Yeah, I'd rather have that problem than have nobody to choose from.
Well, then you have the
Which is
thing
what
with Phil,
Virginia
like,
Tech probably will have next year. Virginia Tech has nobody to choose
no,
from.
it's not because then you have that issue where like Phil Dracovic left because he didn't get to play for 2 years.
Okay, if you're a good team, you gotta expect that to happen. Like that's just gonna happen no matter what.
I wish we still had Dracovic, but he
Like same
failed.
like with same with like when Clemson lost Kelly Bryant. I mean,
Well, he had been there for a while and waited, and he sat and waited his
okay,
turn.
but then he got out and they lost the job. I mean, that's just how it goes in the college football now.
Well, and I will say a good thing about Dan Lanning so far, something that I've been really impressed by. One, they got a Texas flip athlete. I think he's going to be a D lineman. They just got a Texas flip today. And then Seven McGee, one of our running backs, star freshman running backs. He didn't get a whole lot of playing time this year, but he played well when he did. He announced that he was entering the transfer portal, and then the very next day, within 24 hours, talked to Dan Lanning and our head recruiting guy that just got re-signed, and decided to stay at Oregon. So that's like so huge, so massive for Dan Lanning to not only be preparing for the biggest game of his career and then still being able to pull guys over to Oregon or back to Oregon. So that's like been so huge so far.
I
Well,
like
what's
the
going on
hire.
what's going on with your recruiting class? Like, are you guys still outside? the top 10,
It's
or-
getting better. I mean, we had a 4-star corner, Jalil Tucker. He signed today. I think we only had 2 guys sign today, which isn't great, but it's getting better. And I know for sure once January's up, and like the dead period and the national championship and all that, once that's up, I know for a fact.
Is
Dan
there a
Lanning-
second signing day, by the way? Like, how does that work? Because I've
It's
heard
like
there's
a
a second
second
one.
There's
January.
national
It's like
signing day.
it's after the championship. It's sometime in January,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
As of right
It's
now,
after-
Oregon
Yeah.
is 31st in according to
Oh.
47.
Yeah.
God.
When is it?
31st.
No. I said that's when Oregon's ranking right now in the as far
The
as right now.
31st in the
for
country.
2022. Yeah.
Which, like I said before
Virginia
in the
Tech's
chat,
higher than that.
How'd you guys do that? I thought you guys were like top 15 at one
we
point.
were 7th at one point, and then we dropped off because of all those. I mean, Kelvin Banks was a big one. He signed with Texas. We had 2 guys flip to Texas, and then like
That's
a couple
crazy.
other flips. We also lost. We had the top 2 guys in Oregon were committed to Oregon, and then one of them, Darius Clemens, which is the number 1 receiver in Oregon, and I believe he's a 4-star. He just signed to Michigan or committed to Michigan, and then the other one, I think he's still thinking about it. I can't remember his name, but he has Miami in his top 5, so you know where he's going for sure.
Yeah, I'll say this though. A lot of
Um,
Michigan. I gotta screw Michigan because they, out of anyone,
gosh.
no, they just because of recruiting today, they have flipped so many recruits from so many different schools.
Well,
just today.
I mean, when you have a good
You're just
season,
yeah. What do you want them to do? Don't be a hater. I mean, if Notre Dame might be doing the same thing if they were having that good of a year, but too bad they missed the playoff.
Okay.
Week schedule.
What's the next?
But,
Okay, I think.
but
I
I wanted to say, I wanted to say something also about Dan Lanning too, because I didn't really get to mention anything. Because, Ryan over there, yep. Dan Lanning's a good defensive coordinator. I think that this actually is, I think, the best Oregon could do. Really, the only other guy you were going to get, I think, in my opinion, was Luke Fickell, was the only other good option. I think I just didn't see Lane Kiffin leaving quite yet, as much as that was rumored. But I think that he's got a chance to do something there. He's got the great state of California right below to recruit from. It's in the Pac-12 still, like, yeah, Oregon's the top team right now, but it's still kind of wide open. But the one really doesn't have any like territory over it, so they can go get a lot of recruits out there. We're gonna get to really see how it goes for him as far as his recruiting, how he goes recruiting. Obviously, Kirby was a big time recruiter, but he probably took a lot of time in learning how to recruit from Kirby, which I think is important. So I think that should actually work out very well for Oregon. We'll see, obviously, how it goes. But I think it's definitely a good hire for them. They definitely did not fumble the bag in hiring Dan Lanning, in my opinion.
In both situations for Notre Dame and Oregon, I think it's either a splash hire or it could go really bad. It's
Yeah,
one of the two.
Exactly. I agree.
yeah.
You said you were pretty adamant, Costa, that Venables was never going to leave, at least not anytime soon.
Man,
I can go back and play the
left.
clip where he says Venables doesn't want to be a head coach. What part?
And you literally said it's because he moved.
It just came out of nowhere
into a house, right?
Yeah. Well, going back on it, I did also forget that all the time he did spend in Oklahoma, and honestly.
Was he like a?
He was their defensive coordinator for some time when Stoops was there, and then Bob Stoops was an idiot, and for some reason just like said, "I want my brother. You're no good," which was really stupid. But he apparently, but this, if there was any head coaching job that Venables was going to get, it was going to be Oklahoma, and honestly, because that's the one he wanted. So honestly, I'm happy for him. I'm just glad we got him as long as we did. But I think this was a great hire for Oklahoma. As much as I'd like to give Oklahoma fans crap, they got a very good hire, in my opinion. Yeah, I might sound a little biased, but I mean, the stats don't lie for itself. I mean, look at what Venables has done during his time as Clemson. He's produced some great athletes, some insane defenses over the past 5 years. Like when Clemson got there, Clemson hired him actually the game after they had West Virginia hung 70 on them in the Orange Bowl, and that first
2011,
yeah, the year after Clemson smacked Virginia Tech twice, funny enough, and Kevin Steele actually kind of looked good, and then that happened, but Brent Venables, he's not just a great defensive guy. I mean, obviously he's got the fire, he's got the passion, but he's a great recruiter. I mean,
he also looks like Willem Dafoe from the Spider-Man.
Yes, he does.
Spider-Man.
He's I don't know if you guys seen this, but he's actually trying to get Mark Stoops to leave Kentucky to come be his defensive coordinator.
Stoops just signed an extension.
No, I know. But there was a Oklahoma thing about it.
But I think he's also a great recruiter. A lot of times when Dabo's been out recruiting, he's been right there with him, and players love playing for him. Just when I've talked to a good amount of players when I was in school there, and they just always loved about how him and Dabo were both great guys, and when he left, I mean, I've seen there's multiple videos of Venables saying that Clemson was hard to leave, but I mean, he's gonna I think be a great guy there. I mean, Oklahoma's had the offensive thing down for a while, but defensively, yeah, that's the thing. And when he was there, their defense was good. Like I think during that 2000 national championship team, I think he was the defensive coordinator at Oklahoma. Funny enough,
you mean 2008 or
no 2000? Like when they last won the national championship over Florida State.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
I think he was there in 2008 as well, and their defense was still pretty good too. But I really do think that Oklahoma did get a home run higher in this guy. As much as I hate to see him go, he deserved it. He deserved the opportunity to go. I'm very happy for Brent and just thankful for everything he did at Clemson. And I wish him nothing but the best, and I hope he has a lot of success in Oklahoma.
Except when he plays Clemson, because then you want to whoop his ass.
Oh yeah.
Well, part of it to me is
when
the
the playoff goes back to Alabama, Clemson, Oklahoma, and Ohio State next year.
Here we go again.
Right?
Yeah,
every single year. But part of me, it's like a legacy thing. You know, I'm sure Brent Venables would have been just fine winning national championships as a defensive coordinator for Clemson for the rest of his career. But there's a lot of people that they want their legacy to be different. Because, like, I mean, when you guys win national titles, who do they talk about?
Dabo
Sweeney.
Yeah.
So
And then what
Brent Venables
happens
wants
is
that
teams
same-
will try and take the coordinators that he has from those teams.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so Brent Venables, you know, he wants that same feeling. He wants that, oh, Oklahoma or Clemson, whatever, just won a national title. Let's go talk to the head coach, Brent Venables, that type deal. So it makes sense for him to leave. It's definitely going to suck because personally, I don't think they win any national titles in a very long time. But just because
Especially in the SEC,
they're going to the SEC,
Yeah,
and
that's
this is like,
that's
good luck.
true.
And
But
also,
I
their
was-
team right now is in the gutter with everybody leaving and transferring and decommitting and everything.
Yeah, but they're still finished with, I think, the 10th ranked recruiting class this year. Funny enough.
Well, they got lucky that they hired Brent when they did.
They did.
Because if they would have waited, because like with Oregon, I feel like if we could have jumped on Dan or literally anybody like a week and a half or a week earlier than what we did, I don't think we would have lost as many players.
Can I say though, like with these teams that losing coaches and everything that happens so quickly, because like especially in the Oklahoma situation, I don't know much about Oregon situation. That'd be Lucas, but from what I heard, a lot of the recruits decommitted because they committed to Oklahoma because of Lincoln Riley and his style of offense. So what I don't understand is why when these coaches are recruiting, why they don't have every coach have some sort of relationship with the kid when they're recruiting them. So then when they commit, if there is a coaching change or people leaving, so that way it's not like, oh, I just decommit because
the reason why is because if you have them have a relationship with if they're like a running back, you have them develop a relationship with the running backs coach. If a coach leaves, they're either going to take that coach with them or the next coach that comes in is going to clean house. That's what happened with Virginia Tech. We lost a 4-star running back recruit to Maryland because it was uncertain what was going to happen to the two coaches that mostly recruited him, Ryan Smith and Adam Lynchenberg, because one of them was the running backs coach under Fuente, but it wasn't known whether he was going to be on the staff or not. So he flipped because it was so uncertain, because those were the two coaches he had made the most amount of relationship with, not Fuente and not Cornelson. It was those two coaches.
But that's that's a big reason why Notre Dame didn't have the same situation as Oklahoma, because a lot of the kids committed because of Marcus Freeman, even the offensive recruits. We got lucky with that. That's another reason why we got pressured into hiring him, is because we wanted to keep those recruiting classes intact and not lose kids. But I guess if you're going to have that, why can't you at least have a single recruiting person or a multitude of guys that can sit there and say, hey, I understand so-and-so's not here, but you and me have a pretty good relationship. I'm staying around.
Well, they do. They do. So Oregon, for instance, we actually have a recruiting coordinator, and he's the guy that just re-signed to a big contract with Dan Lanning. And he was a big reason why we got Seven McGee to return, because he's the guy that goes to all their houses. Obviously, Mario did a lot of that, and that's why a lot of these recruits left and, wanted to go to Miami. But essentially, the reason why we don't have a lot of transfers, I think we only have one actual player that went in the transfer portal other than Micah Pittman, who did it during the season, is because of him being the the coordinator that goes to all their houses, that meets all their families and whatnot. So, and we got to keep him, which is a big thing.
Why did Micah Pittman enter the portal?
Because we're just not the offense that he likes. He wasn't getting the ball a lot. Mario Cristobal was stubborn, run down your throat type offense, and that's what he liked, and that's what Joe Moorhead got. I think it is very possible that Micah Pittman will return because he was actually, I think, going to go to Florida State, and was getting recruited by their offensive coordinator, and now their offensive coordinator's come back to Oregon, and Dan Lanning said that he wants the offense to be an air it out type offense. So it's possible that it'll come back, but yeah, that's kind of the answer to your question. Is we have. I'm guessing that a lot of these schools have an actual recruiting coordinator. It's just the schools that get the best recruits are the schools that have the coaches, like the head coach will go to the kid's house and talk to them, and that are good recruiters. Like, for instance, Fuente and Brian Kelly, they weren't like that.
No, Fuente absolutely was not interested in recruiting.
Yeah, so they weren't. They were the guys that would say, send their offensive coordinator or their, whatever it is to go talk to these kids, and they wouldn't get the best recruiting classes. Now Notre Dame has, a big brand, so people would still go there, but it's going to be a little bit different. Yeah, so it's going to be a little bit different now for them.
When our recruiting, our group, I think it was the group that came in this past year, like 76th in the country.
Yeah. And so you look at Dabo, and the reason why Dabo's done so good, you've seen the videos.
He's the one that goes to their house. Like, that's
same thing with Lane Kiffin. Like, that's why Lane Kiffin is doing so well right now at Ole Miss. I mean, first 10-win regular season in school history. It's because he's going to these kids' houses and he's telling them, "Hey, come here." And obviously, it wasn't really his class, but it's still part of all of that in the coaching.
Well, funny enough, Marcus Freeman just came out today and actually said that he wants to transform the way of recruiting. And so on top of being a head coach, he said he's going to be going and he's going to be the head recruiting guy, where he looks at guys and looks at film and decides, hey, you want to come? And he's going to personally meet not only with the defense, but offensive guys as well. And he said that he wants to be more involved than any head coach has ever been with recruiting. So he wants to know every guy's name. He wants to be the recruiting director, basically. He wants.
Where's he from?
He is from.
He played at Ohio State, right?
Yes, I think. I'm actually not 100% sure. I think he's a Midwest guy, but I'm not 100% sure.
I only wonder because now I feel like nowadays we're seeing a lot of guys trying to go back to where they were originally. And we're seeing it more and more and more. So I wonder, where he was from and whatnot, but I don't think Ryan Day, that's his name, right? I think it was Ryan Day. I don't think Ryan Day is going anywhere anytime soon. So I think you're in good shape.
Okay. So, do you have a segment on VT? Probably not.
Yeah, I do.
So he's from Ohio. Yeah, he's from Ohio.
Who's from Ohio?
Marcus Freeman.
Okay.
Born and raised in Ohio.
Switch.
Brent was prize. He was the prize. I do find it hilarious how we started this year and all of our teams had major changes in coaching this year. 3 of us have new head coaches, and then Clemson has lost both their offensive and defensive coordinator.
Yeah, although the defense coordinator has basically been calling the plays for us the last 3 years, so hopefully the defense won't fall off too much. So,
I want you guys to give your thoughts on this before I talk a bit about this, really.
For me, I don't know. I think you're in kind of the same boat as really Ryan and I on who freaking knows. I mean, I don't know.
Well, actually, yeah, because he doesn't have head coaching experience either.
Yeah, and I don't know.
He's the oldest of the 3. He's like in his 50s. He's been coaching for 30 plus years, so he has the experience.
They all have different experiences, though, which is weird. Mm-hmm. Marcus Freeman was an NFL player. Lanning was he started off just in coaching, right? Was he ever a
Yeah,
player?
right when he played football, but right when he right when he stopped, got out of college, graduated, he became a graduate assistant at Pitt, and then moved on to a bunch of different schools.
Yeah, and then Pry's been all over the place. But
I think with Brent Pry, to me, I think he needs to come in because he was the OC at Penn State.
DC,
okay. I think he needs to come in and for me, I think Virginia Tech is in full 1,000,000% rebuild mode, where he needs to completely change
The culture,
everything about the program. And it's the same thing that, Mario Cristobal did when he came into Oregon, bringing this to, back to Oregon, of course. But it's the same kind of deal where before Mario became the head coach, I mean, the previous 2 years we were 4-8 and then 7-5 in the regular season. And then he turned us into an actual good team after a 7-5, record his first season. I think that's what Brent Pry needs to do as well. I don't think you guys are losing a lot this year. I think we talked about it on the last podcast, or maybe one of the
wide
other ones.
receivers is the main thing.
I don't think you guys are losing too much. I think Raheem Blackshear could be one of the best running backs in all of college football, and I think he can turn into that. Brent Pry.
See, I'm not sure. Let me check actually if he's a senior. I'll check that real quick while you keep talking. Sorry.
But I think for me, I think that he can turn him around for sure. He might run into some bumps on the way.
So Blackshear's a redshirt junior, so he probably has another year.
Yeah, so
he turned it on at the end of the season. I think in 2 of the last 3 weeks, he was ACC running back of the week.
So is he actually a redshirt junior, or is he?
That's what it says on Virginia Tech. He's a redshirt junior now.
So
and I haven't heard anything about him deciding to go to the NFL yet.
So I wonder.
Now we just, like I mentioned before, we lost a 4-star running back recruit to Maryland. We have a 3-star coming in named Bryce Duke, who's pretty good. He was named, I think the Washington Post named him the All-Metro Football Player of the Year, or wherever, whatever major city that he's nearby to.
Well, and here's the thing about Virginia Tech is if they turn into, they could easily turn into a 2021 Clemson team where they just have a rock solid defense that just absolutely shut down defense.
Basically,
I think that's what they'll have. If we can have Penn State's defense and even Penn State's offense they had this year, or even slightly better, that's 8 to 9 wins right there.
I mean, when you have a defense that you're confident in, where they can go get a goal line stand at the 1-yard line, not only once, but twice.
Well, we're thinking. If you look back at Virginia Tech's Golden Age, was exactly that. It was a defense that was top 10 in the country, and an offense that was run the ball, but was maybe middle of the road to even worse. And other than Michael Vick, when he was there, their offense was, I think, never higher than top 60 in the country. So if you can even go back to that. But that's the biggest thing. I'm sorry for interrupting you, Lucas, but I think that's the biggest thing that Fuente had to deal with was changing the identity of Virginia Tech from Beamer ball, special teams focus, defensive focus, and so on and so forth. So he brought up a lot of different things. So he tried to create his own traditions and stuff, which some of them worked, like each week a different player wore the number 25, because that was what Frank Beamer wore as a player. That was a player that usually contributed on special teams as well. I hope they continue doing that because that's really been very well received. But now, Fuente didn't have the personality to fully make the changes he needed to with the culture, because he was very much, he didn't like talking to the public. We almost never got any insight into the team. He only ever did one open practice the entire season, sometime in April. He never did it during the the summer or anything, or towards the end of the season, or during the season and whatnot. He was very much, he didn't like recruiting as well, and that showed with how bad the recruiting classes got. I think the best he ever got was maybe his second season. It was like top 25 or something. But he had like 30s. It was like in the 30s, then the 40s, and then it was like 76th was before this past year. Well, of course, that was impacted by COVID, but still. And Pry is already. I've been seeing photos on Twitter of Pry and the coaching staff that he has. Already in recruiting together, being in the homes of these players to trying to recruit for this class. So it's very refreshing to see that.
You went to Virginia Tech, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So something that I've heard, and it was actually on Tom Segura's podcast. He had Chris Long on, obviously Virginia alum, and he was talking about the fact that he wanted to go to Virginia Tech. That was the team he wanted to go to.
Chris Long?
Yes. He wanted to go to Virginia Tech, but their dorm rooms were like cells. They were like cells, and he felt like it was like he felt like it was like a one of those stereotypical like private schools that you see on shows and whatnot. And so that's why he decided.
Wait, that's where he thought Virginia Tech was?
Yes. So then he decided to go to Virginia because it felt less like
when I went to Virginia, I was like, oh, this immediately felt like a prep school. Immediately, I was like, I do not belong here at all. Like it felt immediately, I knew it felt like a true private school, private school, really? Whatever. Like,
what he said was more like it felt more free at Virginia, kind of. And you guys can go back and look at it, and I don't do it justice, but that's kind of like the gist of it. And I wonder if Virginia Tech isn't putting in enough effort for these kids to feel like they want to spend their next 4 to 5 years at that program.
I can answer that. So when you look at what Beamer was able to do as a coach, he never recruited very well. He maybe got a 5-star here and there. Like he got Kevin Jones, who was the number 1 player back in, I think, the 99 class between Penn State and Virginia Tech. He was able to get him. But, most of the time he was, 30, maybe up into the top 25, but Virginia Tech has never been considered a team that could get higher than maybe 25, maybe 20 in recruiting with Beamer since then. But he was able to be successful with these 3 and 4, like these 3 and 4-star recruits that are not as highly touted, and turn them into these good players, right? And that's kind of, I think that really hurts Virginia Tech's vision of football, because Beamer can do that with these kids that aren't highly touted. So we don't need to put the facilities weren't the best and stuff. Like they didn't have an indoor practice facility until 2015, which was Beamer's last year. So they didn't put the money and effort and time into it as Beamer was leaving in his last few years, right? I was there his last 2 seasons, and I was there for Fuente's first season was my senior season. It was my senior year. So I was there for Beamer's last 3 seasons. And, they didn't give a lot of money to the staff, right? So, they weren't able to keep people around. And, as it's gone on, they even with Fuente coming in, and they're like, oh, we do need to focus on the offense. That's what Fuente was thought to be, was an offensive-minded coach, right? So, but they didn't give him the resources to do that, other than, new practice facilities, new locker room and stuff. But they didn't give him the staff money to do that, because while we still had some coaches that stuck with them, just as many coaches kept coming and going, right? And now Virginia Tech's like, oh, we need to do that. Here's $5.5 million for your staff. Here's another $2.25 million just for assistants for that staff. So before Miami gave Cristobal his contracts, that was going to be second highest behind Clemson in the entire ACC. Now it's third, right? Virginia Tech's like, we need to give this money to the coaches to convince them to stay, right? and prove that they can do more with the better resource that we can give them now, right? And Virginia Tech has also been trying to do that with increasing the number of boosters and the number of people that support the team and stuff, because to help provide for that, and also just provide and improve things around the campus, right?
Can I ask you, Connor, because you would know this because you followed it for the last couple of years, but I was ultimately surprised that Fuente failed at Virginia Tech based off of what he did with Memphis. He was the first kind of guy that got Memphis to where they were, which was
he was seen as a home run hire when Virginia.
Yeah, that's why I don't understand why he couldn't transfer what he did at Memphis with the high-powered offense, basically no defense, but to bring that kind of mentality to Virginia Tech. Like, what was he able to do at Memphis, or I guess what was he able to have access to at Memphis that he couldn't do at Virginia Tech? When you'd think there would be more to his.
Well, I don't think it's mainly the amount of access. It's also the fact that what you just said, Memphis was not good at football before he got there. There was not the support there for Memphis football. It was Memphis basketball. It was a basketball school with Derrick Rose, obviously, most famously. So, and Virginia Tech's had a lot more time with Beamer being there for so long to build it up to be a football school. So, and because of his personality as not being open and sharing the team with the community and making it feel like it's part of the campus and stuff, and not sharing the process, right? It closed off that, shut it off right there. That's, you want the fans to support the team, but you want the fans to have access to the team as well. And he just cut that off. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's not the offense. I mean, the offense never developed, but I think it's also he just never could stick with a quarterback.
Well, you gotta look at
in the 6 years he was there, he had 6 different starting quarterbacks start for him.
Right?
Did he not bring the OC from Memphis with him?
He never had a quarterback start more than, I think, 13 games that he was there at Virginia Tech.
Could he not get the offensive court? Did he bring the offensive coordinator from Memphis?
Cornelson was with him.
Cornelson?
Yeah, I think so. He came with him.
What changed with Cornelson? Because he was all aired out and like.
Probably just that defense is probably just better.
Here's my kind of answer to that question for Ryan. A big part of it, I would say, is a jump in competition.
Exactly, that's what I meant. Yeah.
The ACC is not, by any means the best conference in.
No, but he was able to compete with UCF at a time that UCF was saying they won national championships.
Yes, but also the ACC.
That was Fuente was already at Virginia Tech for 2 years when UCF won that.
Oh, really? Okay.
2017, yeah.
The ACC is still it's still a Power 5 conference for a reason. It's the same way as the Pac-12, the Big 12. You're gonna beat up on each other all year. So I think that's part of his struggles at Virginia Tech, is that he wasn't in a conference that was just kind of like.
Well, he was in the most chaotic and easiest division to win in the entire country, though. In all the Power 5, though, in the Coastal.
That was
but that's still that's still Power 5.
I know, but that's like Miami. I mean, obviously 2017 Miami was good, but
and then you had
Miami was still rebuilding, and then Virginia sucked. UNC wasn't where it was with Mac and stuff, so Pitt was bad. So it was right there for the taking for Virginia Tech, and obviously they took it that first year with in Fuente's first year. But
so what years was Fuente at Memphis?
Virginia Tech got him in 2015, so I want to say 2011 to 2015.
Oh God, that was that long ago! Holy crap!
Okay,
yeah, 2011. He won 19 and some. He was 19 and 10 in his last 2 years at Memphis or something. They were really good.
Yeah, I was just wondering. I was wondering because of when Kenny Dillingham
Well, it's kind of funny.
was that?
His record at Virginia Tech was 43-31, so it wasn't bad. But
for Virginia Tech, that's not good.
No.
yeah, but at the
That's
same
the
time,
thing.
but in his last, he had a better record in his last 4 years than Beamer had in his last 4 years.
Also, by the way, Emory Jones just entered the transfer portal for Florida.
Ooh.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, Pry he's already taken. He's saying his defensive coordinator, and none of you are paying attention. I just all of you are looking at your phone.
No, so I think like overall, Connor, I think you're in a decent spot. I think it can't get much worse, even though you did obviously make a bowl game. I don't think it could have got much worse than where you were.
What it felt like it was going to be.
Yeah, I think you guys were kind of in one of those, tornado effect or whatever. You're just gonna go round in circles doing the same thing every single year under Fuente, and it's just kind of how it was gonna be. You're either gonna go 5-7, 6-6, maybe get lucky, go 7-5, 8-4.
Well, I mean, we went 10-4 his first year. They were 9-4 his second year, I think. He was 19-8 his first 2 years, and was like, oh my god, like look at this. And then the next year was 2018 when Josh Jackson breaks his leg against ODU, and really fell off that season, and pretty much have continued to fall off since.
God, I love that team. Travis Fulgham, Jeremy Cox.
Right, you just love Travis Fulgham.
I'm gonna come and find you and kill you, Ryan, for that.
It's funny. They're both on the Denver Broncos.
With that being said, boys, I do have to go.
Okay. All right, Lucas.
I will.
You have to go do other. You have more work to do.
Yep, more work to do.
Well, I gotta go feed the dogs.
Yeah, I do.
Right.
So yeah, I'll just quickly say before we wrap up, at least with Virginia Tech, he's hired He's hired Florida State's linebackers coach as his defensive coordinator. Who he's 32. He was a four-time All-American linebacker at Vanderbilt, actually, when he was a player. And Pry actually was at Vanderbilt as a coach when he was there as a player. He's also going to be hiring the Jacksonville Jaguars co-offensive coordinator / tight ends coach as the offensive coordinator.
Nothing from the Jags can ever turn out as good.
Well, I mean, he also just knows him very well. He was I can't remember where he was, but he was with a college team before this year, and has been proven to be a very good recruiting coach. So he's going for people he both knows personally, and also people he knows can recruit very, very well. And the fact that there's already been pictures I've seen of him with the coaching staff he's put together in these recruits' houses and stuff like that is very encouraging for me, at least. So, what do we have next for this, Coster?
Well, we could do, I guess, Billy Napier. That was really the last one I had, because that's really the only last, I guess, big one, really, for the most part.
Yeah, we haven't heard there hasn't been anything really. I mean, this was all really last week, really.
Yeah. Also, I didn't really get to say much on Virginia Tech. It's just kind of, for me, there's just a lot of unknown. Mm-hmm. This could either be a home run or it could be a disaster. But I do hope that he does bring Virginia Tech back, because
football is always better with Virginia Tech being good.
Yeah, because it's good for the ACC even when Virginia Tech's back. College football will be a lot better, if Virginia Tech, Miami, and Florida State can all come back in the ACC.
Also that they have one of the most underrated home field advantages in college football.
And they do. And it's also
imagine having a national championship caliber team at Virginia Tech with that crowd, like those fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be insane. Yeah, no, it'd be insane.
We've already been able to flip 2 recruits from UVA, and that's another thing. Virginia Tech needs to do is they really need to focus on recruiting Virginia more.
Yeah.
Now, because UNC,
Virginia's got good players.
UNC and pretty much UNC and Penn State and Tennessee have pretty much started creeping into Virginia, and taking
That's
a bunch of players from them.
No,
I think, and Miami. I think every player in the top 10 in the state are either went to Miami or UNC. I think.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
So for Billy Napier, it could be, again, it could be good, it could be bad. Hopefully he's a better recruiter. All I'm saying is hopefully he actually goes out and recruits and doesn't say stupid stuff like Dan Mullen did.
Or wears whatever the costume he wore.
Yeah, he wore a Darth Vader thing after a game.
Yeah. I really don't know enough. I think it's honestly could be a good hire. We knew Billy Napier was probably going to get a head coaching gig at a big school very in the near future, with especially what he's done in Louisiana. And kudos to him for what he's done there. He's made them an elite program. I think they won 2 out of the last 3 Sun Belt championships minus last year.
Yeah, they've been in the last 4. The first 2 they lost to Appalachian State.
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah. So yeah, they're again, it could be good. He's gotten Louisiana, I think, to the heights they've never been to before as a program. The fact that they went 12-1 this year, they're only lost to Texas, and looking back now, if they played Texas later in the year, they could have beaten them. After Texas fell apart, they could have been undefeated. It's just, again, a lot of uncertainty. Billy Napier, he does have a lot of experience. Also a member coached under Saban, so it seems like Saban's assistants tend to do usually pretty good. Former assistants. Who all was on that team? Who all was on that coaching staff in 2015? I mean, Kirby Smart, SEC championships already. Billy Napier, SEC championship.
The coach at Michigan State.
Yeah, Mel Tucker. It's got them in a New Year's Six Bowl. Was Lane Kiffin there?
Yeah, I think he was.
He was
Kiffin. He's got.
I think it was the OC that year.
Yeah, or 26. Yeah, he's
got
all. Yeah.
No. Well, is he not on there?
No.
Okay.
I don't know.
No, Sarkisian was the offensive coordinator last year for Alabama, and that's where allowed him to go to Texas.
Okay.
He did play. He was offensive coordinator for that one game against Alabama, or for Alabama against Clemson and Natty. And for some reason, the Falcons decided to hire him to replace Kyle Shanahan. Still the worst offensive coordinator hire we ever had.
What was that? Was this like 2017 or something?
2016. It was the first
Wait,
year.
Sarkisian was in the NFL?
No, Sark wasn't in the. Yeah, he was. He was our offensive coordinator for like 2 years. It was terrible, absolute trash. But I think Napier is. There's no like top Florida team right now.
Which is so weird.
Like, yeah, usually at least you have one of them doing good.
But all
not even UCF. UCF, given what they had this year, to go 8-4 was okay. I'm not going to get into Miami, of course. You didn't have what's it called? Your top quarterback for most of the year.
Derek King.
Is he coming back, or is he quitting football?
I think he's done. I think Tyler Van Dyne, they're going to stick with him.
No, I'm saying, is he done with football, or is he transferred?
I think he didn't have any time left. He doesn't have any. I think this year was his last eligibility year.
If that, he might have one more year.
I mean, he might be able to get a medical red shirt or something for this year.
Yeah. So we'll see. It's tough for him.
He might be a top prospect.
No, too many injuries. But Napier, the thing with Napier is he has the potential to bring Florida back. If he can get them a culture kind of going, like, I don't want to say when Urban Meyer was there, because with just what Urban's been doing in the NFL, I don't want to say that.
His kicker.
Yeah. That's not fun the way you put that. No, I mean, I guess more when Spurrier was there. Then get that back.
I always forget that Spurrier was there. I always
Spurrier is what got Florida to where they were,
and that's what their team's named after. But I always forget. I always connect him Spurrier more with South Carolina.
I mean, he did have them play their best football ever, but even then, they still never made it to a New Year's Six or BCS bowl game with him there. Never forget. I mean, no, they did win a division with him, title with him there, which I guess is that's the only one they've still only won. So I guess that's a good thing for them. But again, Napier, you've got a huge recruiting bed. You've got state of Florida. You know, you're in the state, which is so great for recruiting. You got Georgia right up.
You got to deal with Georgia every year.
You got to deal with Georgia every year, but I mean, if you want to win it all, if you're gonna be the best, you got to beat the best.
What do you think is the ceiling for him his first year record wise?
I think he'll go second.
Let's save that question because we can ask that for every coach. We could have done that before. We'll save that question for later.
Yeah, I think he definitely has the opportunity to do that, or to get them to at least the top 3 in the SEC East for sure.
I mean, who else is in that? Who else is in that division?
Kentucky,
Georgia.
Tennessee. I mean, we'll have to see how Tennessee keeps. So they keep.
Well, they're keeping
good.
Hooker and Kentucky. Obviously, we'll have to see with them.
Well, we'll have to see how they keep progressing. You know, obviously,
Will Levis will be there next year, so I mean that'll.
South Carolina and Spencer Rattler. Even though as much as I don't think that's going to do anything like some South Carolina fans think. I mean, I'll just throw them in there.
The fact that we didn't talk about Spencer Rattler going to South Carolina on the show barely at all tells you how much that we think it's going to be a garbage move.
I mean, we'll probably be talking about him next year come when we get to actually see him play. But for now, we have no idea.
I swear to God, if Lucas has him in his early Heisman rankings, I'm going to.
He's got nothing to work with. His offensive line is terrible. He doesn't have that great of receiving core either. I mean, I don't know. I'm not expecting much from them.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I like Napier. I don't mind. I mean, I think it's a good hire for Florida.
You didn't really have any other options.
Yeah.
At that point.
So, but So I mean, it's a good hire. There was no other options. So Lucas, what are your thoughts?
What do you mean, Ryan?
Not Lucas, Ryan. Sorry.
No, I actually really like this hire. I love him as a coach. The fact that he stayed with Louisiana and coached them through the Sun Belt Championship.
Will he be coaching the bowl game too?
I'm pretty sure he is. And
all New Orleans Bowl.
I mean, the fact that you stick with your team when an era and where no coaches stick with their team, I respect it. And also, fun fact, since the 2019 National Championship game, Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns have out-recruited LSU in their own state since 2019 winning the Natty.
Nice.
Billy Napier they've gotten more recruits and commits from Louisiana homegrown kids than LSU has.
Even in just terms of total number of kids they've got.
Yes, just in general, they've out recruited LSU in their own backyard, and a lot of that is Billy Napier, and that's actually the first time Louisiana has done that ever.
Wow, that's
where
impressive.
They've had more recruits from Louisiana than LSU.
That's
so. The fact that Billy Napier also, not on top of having the Florida recruiting, has that still Louisiana hotbed where he recruited kids, has that personality, I think that could also help him. And I honestly think this is a home run hire. I think he can change Florida into back where it was in the early 2000s, competing for SEC titles. Not right away.
Me hearing home run hire gives me flashbacks to Fuente now, because that's what Fuente was.
I'm not saying this right now.
Vietnam flashbacks. Oh God.
I could definitely see Florida in the next 3 years competing with Georgia.
Like Georgia.
I could see that.
I give them, yeah.
I think that's good for Georgia's sake because the East is just so weak right now. I mean, no offense to Josh, but Kentucky being the number 2, the second best team in the East this year is not a good sign. No disrespect to Kentucky, but that should not be
probably the second best.
I'd almost say the gap between Georgia and Kentucky is almost as big of a gap. It's bigger of a gap than Kentucky to maybe Vanderbilt in terms of actual quality of the team overall.
Oh yeah, no, Vanderbilt is Vanderbilt.
No, but
is
I'm saying like the
fire.
gap in quality between Georgia at 1 in the division and Kentucky in 2 is bigger than from Kentucky through the rest of
Hey,
it.
you know what? Don't hate on Kentucky. They scored
Yeah.
the second most points on that Georgia defense this year.
Yeah, but still,
Well, that's not saying that much.
it's not saying that much when
Considering
Alabama
that
put
it
up
was
47
nothing.
or whatever.
And one of those literally was like a minute left in the game, like literally 30 seconds left in the game. I was at, and take it from a guy who was at this game.
Okay, guys, let's quickly do this. Let's go through
Each coach and think what the
Costa. Yeah,
record would
Costa.
be.
Go back to the first one and let's do our best. Let's do best and worst case scenario record wise for each coach, I guess.
Okay, so
let's
Lincoln
go with
Riley.
we'll start with Lincoln Riley. And let's go with you, Costa.
Well, can we look at their schedule first?
I'm gonna have to bring that up.
Lincoln Riley will go. I'll go 8-4 his first year. I guess 9-4, 8-5, or something like that.
Oh, what? Showing basketball? No, I want the football, not the basketball schedule. Jesus.
I just had to put football in.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
So this is their
I did play
schedule.
myself.
So they play Rice week 1. They play Fresno State.
Okay,
Notre
I take
Dame.
that back. 7-5.
You're gonna lose to Fresno State.
So they
Well,
play.
I mean, with just because he's got nothing to work with right now.
So they play Rice, Fresno State, Notre Dame, Arizona, Oregon State, Stanford, UCLA. So they play Arizona, Oregon State.
Are those the
Stanford.
home games?
No, they play Arizona, Oregon State, Stanford, and UCLA all on the road.
Oh, jeez. And they play at Notre Dame?
They play Notre Dame at home, Fresno State at home, Rice at home. They play Arizona State at home, California at home, Colorado at home, and then they play Washington State at home, and then they end the season at Utah. So
yeah,
I'd
actually,
say-
I'm gonna say go 7-5. I take back.
Yeah, I could see at worst 6-6, at best maybe 8-4.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that as well. Actually, funny enough.
So next one is Brian Kelly at LSU.
I didn't give mine. I'd say they go 8-4.
That's fair. And then Brian Kelly at LSU.
I got their schedule pulled up. So they
I'm pulling it
play.
up too. They play
Keep going.
Florida State, Southern, Mississippi State, New Mexico, at Auburn, Tennessee, at Florida, home versus Ole Miss, home versus Alabama, at Arkansas, versus UAB, and finish the season at Texas A&M.
Okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, maybe a little bit. Best case scenario, they go 10-2.
With a
Worst
lot
case,
to Alabama,
Alabama and A&M.
A&M at home and at home versus Alabama and on the road at Texas A&M to end the season.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that I couldn't see that.
And then worst case scenario, 7-5.
Yeah, I could see 3 losses. I could see 5 losses. Maybe Auburn, maybe Florida,
Mississippi State,
Ole Miss
for sure. Yeah.
maybe Tennessee if their offense is
maybe
as good
Arkansas
as it was this year.
again.
And then Arkansas and then Texas A&M. So that's I think 5
So
or 6.
I may be the only one here, but I have
What's up,
them
Ishi?
going. Oh, go ahead.
That's my friend Ishi popping in. Sorry.
So I actually have them going 4-8. Worst case scenario. No. This is why, because I don't think they're going to beat Mississippi State. I don't think they're going to beat Auburn. I don't think they're going to beat Ole Miss or Florida. I think they're going to lose to
I
Tennessee.
think they can beat Florida.
I'm saying because I think that Florida still has the players.
LSU
And
still
that's
got
at
the
Florida.
players.
It's also at Florida. So I think
what it used to be.
best case scenario, I could see them going 6-6.
For
Best,
LSU.
yes. But I just think that the SEC right now, like Alabama, Arkansas, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, even I think they pulled the worst draw you could honestly. With
Yeah,
even
that's
like,
yeah. I mean, they got a lot of good, they
and
got a lot
especially
of ranked
playing
teams.
at Arkansas.
I mean,
at
they're
Texas
lucky they're
A&M.
not playing Georgia, or that's
Yeah.
I would give them
Yeah.
a fifth or sixth loss easily.
Yeah.
So next would be Notre Dame. I have it already pulled up. They play at Ohio State, Marshall, home versus Marshall, California. Then they play at UNC. They play a neutral site game versus BYU in Las Vegas. They play Stanford at home. They have UNLV at home. They're at Syracuse. They have Clemson at home. They're in Baltimore versus Navy. Have Boston College at home, and then they play at the Trojans, USC.
Okay, best case scenario, I'm gonna say 11-1. Worst case scenario, I'm gonna say 8-4, and that's just with if a lot of just stuff doesn't go their way.
I could see 11-1 with maybe Ohio State at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
That's easily your toughest game. Second one is maybe if BYU keeps going neutral site game, that's gonna be more of a home game for BYU since it's in Vegas, and then maybe Clemson.
Yeah.
I could see maybe. I still don't buy at UNC, so I could see maybe 9-3.
UNC's tough but they do have I think the 7th.
Well, it's also at UNC. It's not at Notre Dame like it was this year.
Yeah, and they do also have this 8th ranked recruiting class this year.
Yeah, but they're without Sam Howell, and they couldn't beat Notre Dame 2 years with Sam Howell.
Yeah, I'm just saying, that it's a very good possibility. They still could.
You know what? That's the thing. I was tired of hearing the last 2 years. Oh, you guys are going to lose to North Carolina.
And then of course Virginia Tech beat them in the first week, and that really deflated them.
Yeah, well, yeah. I just showed how good those skill guys were.
But no, what's your best case and worst case, Connor?
I think I said 11-1. Worst case, maybe 9-3.
So
losses to Ohio State, maybe BYU and Clemson, or maybe UNC instead of BYU.
See, okay, you guys are going to call me a homer, but I think the best case they could go 12-0. The only reason, no.
I knew it was coming. That's fair, though. It's fair. No, it's fair.
Listen, this is the only reason. Because we catch Ohio State week 1. Ohio State has had a history of losing games early in the season because they're just kind of trying to find themselves, like sleepwalking. So I could see us catching Ohio State just because it's week 1. And then Clemson, the only reason I think we could beat Clemson is because there are still question marks on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
That's the honestly.
There are.
BYU,
I'm not insane.
BYU, I'm not too worried about because I don't think they're a top 25 team anyway. And we'll have to see if Kalani Sitake stays. But I'm just not sold on them. And then everyone else on Notre Dame's schedule is basically a cakewalk. Maybe USC at the end of the season, depending on what they're looking like. But, I mean, really, if Notre Dame can somehow win those games against Clemson and Ohio State, they really don't have anybody else they got to worry about. Maybe North Carolina, but, I mean, and if they go 12-0, they're an easy playoff lock? I mean, with wins over Ohio State and Clemson?
Yeah. If you're gonna be Clemson, you gotta do it now because they ain't gonna be down for long.
No, I honestly think that's gonna be a good game. I was thinking
it should be.
That would be a good ass game to go to, as a week 0 podcast. That would be cool for all of us to go. I know Lucas said he doesn't want to go to South Bend, but I mean,
I'd be cool going to South
Bend.
I
mean, even just me and Andrew, if we went, that shit would
be cool going to South Bend. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Because I know all the places down there, where you could go, the cool place, for the where they do the walkthrough, they do the band thing, all that type of stuff. That'd be cool to just go experience. I don't know if you guys have ever been to South Bend or Notre Dame Stadium, but
no, I really don't often go off to Indiana. I hate to break it to you.
What's the next team?
We're gonna say Cristobal in Miami.
Ooh.
Okay, Miami. Let me pull that up.
Oh man, this is I think this is
but I was gonna say the worst case for Notre Dame, I think, is 10-2 or 9-3.
9-3 is more.
Okay. Miami. Their schedule is not finalized in terms of dates, but they play Bethune Cookman.
Oh gosh,
They play our boys Southern Miss. That's gonna be our next
Cam
loss
is
right
actually
there.
coming back next year.
Oh, they play at A&M.
They play at A&M in week 3. Oh my god.
At Clemson.
Real quick, I did want to say
goodness.
Cam is coming back for his final year for Southern
Good for
Miss.
him. Good
Southern
for
Miss.
him.
No. We're saying it right here, right now. Next year, Southern Miss is our team.
Yeah. Let's go.
Can I take that they lose to Southern Miss just because I want Cam to get like a pick 6?
That'd be hilarious. I'd be so down.
That would be.
So they're at Clemson.
Oh my goodness.
They're at Georgia Tech. They have Duke, Florida State, North Carolina, and Pitt at home, and then they have Virginia and Virginia Tech on the road.
Oh man, this is tough.
I see 2 automatic losses at least. Probably Texas A&M and Clemson at the very
least. I do too.
Maybe Virginia Tech if they figure it out, because that's usually going to be late. That's almost going to be guaranteed last 3 or 4 weeks of the season. That game. That's usually where they play each other is later in the season. Virginia Tech and Miami.
I see them losing to at least one of the 2 between North Carolina and Pitt.
I would agree. Maybe they'll lose one of those games at home.
So what's your best?
I'd say best case maybe 9-3, maybe 10-2. Worst case, probably 6-6 somehow.
Yeah, mine's gonna be best case scenario 9-3. Worst case 5-7. A little harsh there,
so
but just
My best case is 8-4. Worst case 6-6.
Okay.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's good.
All right.
That's a fair. And then next we had Venables at Oklahoma. No, well, yeah. Well, I was just going down the list. We had Venables at Oklahoma.
Okay. Yeah, let's pull
Oh
up.
man, this is tough because just because just to the state of the program with everyone leaving and everything, but you do get Caleb Williams back. And he's a good quarterback. Their non-conference schedule is not too bad.
They're at Nebraska, so that's kind of putting together that rivalry again. So
hey, UTEP could. No, I'm just kidding. But
chill.
Actually, wait. So they have UTEP,
Kent
State. They're at
Nebraska. Not going to lose those games. Come on.
I could see Nebraska would be a tricky game.
Nebraska, yes, because we saw that earlier this year.
I just noticed Bedlam is not the last game of the regular season for them. They play
Texas Tech.
And then they finish at Texas Tech at Jerry World. Interesting.
Why?
No, it's not. It's at Jones AT&T Stadium.
Yeah, it's at Jerry World. I love how it's
Jones AT&T Stadium. That's not Jerry World. That's literally Texas.
Oh, right.
Texas Stadium.
I forgot that he went to Texas. Wait.
Congratulations.
He went to Arkansas. So why is it called Jones?
I have no idea. Someone else.
But why would they put Texas Tech? See, this is my issue with the Big 12. They always mess up the rivalries.
Yeah,
Texas should be playing Texas Tech or something, or TCU at the end of the year.
Yeah. Man, this
okay.
What's
your best case and worst case for these guys?
Again, another tough one. Best case for Oklahoma is I'm gonna go out on a limb and say best case scenarios they go 11-1 because they still got a lot of talent. They do have a lot of talent.
Thing, yeah.
And then that's best case scenario.
Okay.
Worst case scenario, they go 8-4.
Probably maybe lose to Kansas State,
Baylor,
maybe Nebraska,
maybe Texas.
Well, does TCU have a coach now?
Maybe Baylor.
Remember they hired SMU's coach, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, TCU hired
How ironic! You literally hired your rival, one of your biggest rivals' coaches. That is hilarious.
TCU did from SMU. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Now there's gonna be extra pay for that iron skillet next year.
I'd say 10-2. I feel like they could pretend. I think the game that they could most likely drop is either Nebraska or maybe Baylor.
I think Baylor and Oklahoma State both.
Or Oklahoma State, but they're getting both Baylor and Oklahoma State at home. So maybe Iowa State, since that's at Iowa State.
And I've heard Brock Purdy may come back next year. I mean, he has that extra COVID year.
He did do pretty bad this year, so.
Okay, and then Ryan, what's yours?
So this is gonna sound bad. So my best case scenario for them, 9-3. Okay.
I could see it.
I think they're gonna lose to Baylor. I think Baylor's an uptick, like they're on the uprise.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think they always seem to struggle with Iowa State on the road. So I think Iowa State's going to be one of those trap games that, that Oklahoma seems to get snake bitten by every year. And then honestly, I could see them losing to either TCU, Oklahoma, or Texas, depending on what Texas is doing, because that game's always wild and like weird.
Yeah, it is. It's a game.
The worst case scenario, I could see them losing to Nebraska, Kansas State, TCU, Baylor, Iowa State, Oklahoma State. I could see them being 6-6. That's if everything goes wrong that can ever go wrong.
I mean,
that's fair.
Yeah.
And then next we got we said Notre Dame, right? Okay, yeah.
Would it be Virginia Tech?
Yeah, let's do Virginia Tech next.
So I got it right here. We start the season. Oh, Ryan, you're going to like this. We start the season at Old Dominion.
Yes.
We start the season at
Why
Old
do you
Dominion.
guys always play at Old Dominion?
No, we had Old Dominion in 2019. We played them at home in 2019.
And you got revenge?
Yeah, we got revenge. We blew them out. So we're at Old Dominion. We have Boston College at home. Then we play Wofford at home. Actually, we have 3 games straight. We have Boston College, Wofford, and West Virginia at home. Then we play at Liberty.
Ooh.
I like that one.
But that's the week before. That's actually
Does
the
that give you
week before.
PTSD too?
That's actually the second. That's the second to last game of the season.
Yeah.
Because we don't have these are the only 6 games.
So, is Virginia Tech
now.
just going on a group of 5 like wrecking tour where they're just
around the state? Yeah, because we play at Liberty, and then the very next week we have Virginia at home.
What did the Wofford Terriers do to you guys?
I don't know, but
they asked for a lot of money in Virginia.
Yeah, we're just going around trying to prove that we're the best in the state, I guess. And then we play at Duke, at NC State, at Pitt, at UNC, and get Georgia Tech and Miami at home.
God, you only play 7 or no, never mind. Okay, I didn't see Boston College up there.
Yeah, so we play 8, but I can immediately say, guaranteed, Pitt, no matter how bad they're going to be, if they are bad next year, that's a loss because Heinz Field, we always get our asses handed to us at Heinz.
Boston College could be a really
last time we played them at home, we beat them.
Well, Phil's coming back. So
is Phil's coming back?
Yeah, he already said he's coming back next year.
So,
yes.
So worst case. So I'll let you guys go first.
I'm gonna say best case scenario 9-3. Worst case scenario. Sorry if this sounds a little harsh, Connor, but I'm gonna say 4-8. It's just a lot. It's just there's so many question marks.
Who's your fourth win for them?
Maybe Virginia.
So your 3 wins I'm gonna take easily. I'm gonna take Old Dominion, Wofford, and then Duke, and then I'm gonna say either Georgia Tech. Yeah, Georgia Tech because Georgia Tech's still kind of in the crapshoot. Their best player, Jahmyr Gibbs, transferred to Alabama. Well, it sounds like he's going to transfer to Alabama. I'll say All
right. So
worst case.
Best case scenario for me. I think you guys could go 8-4, with your losses being to Pitt, so Pitt, NC State. I think Virginia will get you guys. And then I think
Tony Elliott as head coach. Absolutely not.
And then I think Boston College. So it'll either be your fourth loss will either be Virginia or Liberty. I think Liberty's a sneaky one because you don't know how good they're going to be without Malik Willis, but Hugh Freeze is still a really good coach.
And we're playing at them too.
Yeah. So, and actually, I've watched a couple of Liberty games because I did highlight tapes for Cam because he actually played against Liberty. They already got a real home field advantage. So, or in the worst case scenario, I could see you guys losing to West Virginia, Boston College, Liberty, Virginia, NC State, Pitt, Miami, and North Carolina. So 4-8.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. At the very least, that probably could be truly worst case. Obviously, because we don't have the full schedule, at least for the full dates yet. At least what I'm looking at here. I could see. Best case would be actually if we could win all 4 of our non-conference to start the season, and 3 of those we have 3 straight home games to start after the Old Dominion game. We have 3 straight home games at least. So if we could win all 4 of those, that'd be good.
That West Virginia one is still sneaky.
Yeah, I mean we should have won the game against them this past year, except Cornelson's play calling. And inability to put together any sort of good play calls from the goal line absolutely destroyed us. And yeah, like I said, Pitt, it doesn't matter how bad they are or how good we are. We just, Hansfield is just kryptonite. We've suffered some terrible blown out losses to Pitt recently under Fuente and under Beamer as well. I think at the very least, the guaranteed wins is probably Duke, Wofford, and Old Dominion. So those are at least that's at least 3 right there, and Georgia Tech. So definitely those are probably the 4 guaranteed wins. It really just will depend on the games like against Miami and West Virginia and Boston College at home. UNC, actually surprisingly, Fuente I think was undefeated against UNC in his time at Virginia Tech. Surprisingly, he never lost to them. So I think we could probably get that. We just have to see. So I think worst case is probably maybe 4-8 or 5-7. Best case maybe 8-4. But we'll, like you said, there's just Virginia Tech definitely is of our teams, and really of any team that really is hired a new coach this year that's like high profile. Is Virginia Tech's the most uncertain with what they can do.
Yeah.
Because there's much more that's changed. And they are in a worse position than almost any other team that's hired a new coach. So
Oregon is next, right? And I already looked up.
Yeah, we didn't do Oregon.
So the first game's against Georgia. Second game they play Eastern Washington. I'm already calling that as a trap game because we seen a few years ago that Eastern Washington upset Oregon.
Yeah, you're right. They did. No, it was Washington, right?
No, it was Eastern Washington that beat Oregon. Go look it up. Yeah.
Okay. Was it at Oregon too?
It was at Oregon. So and then they play BYU. And then
those are the only 2. Those are the only 2. Those are the only 3 games that we know the actual dates for. Seems.
Yep. And then they play at Arizona, at California, at Colorado.
And then at Oregon State and at Washington State.
Yep. And then they play Stanford, UCLA, Utah, and Washington at home.
Or at least they got Utah at home. So that could help. I think I think other than Lucas, we'd all probably pick Georgia to win that game to start the season.
I don't even know if Lucas would.
No, I don't think Lucas is going to.
Yeah, I don't even think Lucas would. I think we'd all pick that. But all their hardest games they're getting at home, which is very lucky for them. And they're avoiding USC and Arizona State as well.
But like we see every year with Oregon, they always somehow drop a game on the road
that they shouldn't have
to a team that they have no business to. So
the Stanford game, like Stanford.
Yes.
So that could be maybe Washington State without that.
I feel like it's more realistically Oregon State or Cal, just because they usually
or Colorado.
I don't think Colorado, just because when I say they're down bad, they're down bad.
Yeah. So maybe Oregon. Well, Oregon State's better. It's not like that's a game they shouldn't lose.
No, I'm saying just because like it's at home. I mean, it's at home for Oregon State, and it's a rivalry game.
Yeah. You're fine. Josh is finally here. What's up, Josh? You're good.
So go ahead and you guys give yours.
Man, for Oregon,
best case, maybe 11-1, maybe 10-2. Like you said, there's probably the chance that they just seem to lose a game on the road they have no business of losing. If they are able to, if they somehow beat Georgia, then I could definitely see them maybe going undefeated if they think, if that gives them the belief they can go undefeated. But I'd say 10-2, maybe 11-1. Worst case, they lose both Georgia and BYU, and maybe lose against Oregon State or Cal. So maybe 9-3. Maybe
my best case is 10-2. Worst case 7-5.
So this may be a little harsh.
You okay? You tired?
Yeah.
My best case scenario.
Less than this, smidge.
My best case scenario for Oregon is 9-3.
Mm-hmm.
I think Georgia, BYU, not BYU, Georgia and Utah to me are guaranteed losses. I don't see what's going to change from this Oregon team to this past year's when they play Utah. It's basically the same two teams, so I think it's going to be the same result. And then on top of that, I think they're going to drop one more game to either BYU or one of those teams on the road. And then my worst case scenario is that they lose to Georgia, they lose to BYU, they lose on the road at California, they lose to UCLA, they lose to Utah, and they lose to Oregon State. So
6-6.
All right, guys, we don't need a whole breakdown of the schedule.
So 5-7.
I'm just saying. We don't
Okay.
And we got the last
Is there anything else?
It's Billy Napier. One last one. We'll go ahead to talk about him. All right. Best case
Costa,
scenario.
you really look like you're about to keel over with tiredness.
No, I'm about to go eat food because I'm hungry.
Tell me about it.
Billy Napier, best case scenario, I'm going to say 10-2. Worst case scenario, 8-4.
Ooh, they play Utah week 1.
They start the season home. They get Utah at home.
Oh, that's a very slept-on game.
They have 3 straight games against really good teams to start the season, all at home. They have Utah, Kentucky, and USF.
USF is not good.
No, sorry. If it was UCF, that'd be different.
And no, chill out. They're gonna get together at some point.
Then they get at Tennessee.
And Jeff Scott, we trust.
Eastern Washington.
They play Eastern Washington
October
too.
1st. Then they get Missouri. They get LSU at home. Then they're versus Georgia, neutral site, of course. They're at Texas A&M. They get South Carolina, at Vanderbilt, and then at Florida State. So they are avoiding Alabama and Auburn. And so that's really big for them. But those first 2 games, Utah and Kentucky, those are some big games where they're both at home too.
Yeah.
There will be no Jeff Scott slander, by the way, in this chat and the USF. And Jeff Scott, we trust.
I just remember watching that game, USF and UCF in 2017. That to end the season, UCF went undefeated. That was a wild game.
That was a good game. It was great. But yeah,
Joshua, is Costa? He's asking, is Costa okay? Costa's just tired and he's getting old. He all his energy is gone from cheering on Max Verstappen to win the championship back on Sunday. He's still recovering from all the drinking he had.
I was actually thinking. Speaking of Max Verstappen in Formula One, there is something I actually did want to kind of bring up about that. I was trying to figure out what college football season that best compares to
2007.
Yeah.
No. Actually, in Formula One this year? Formula One? No, not 2007, because it was only a 2-horse race
in 2007.
No. He's talking about what college football season most represents this season, this Formula One season that just happened.
So it was really only between 2 guys, Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. There was really,
and there comes Luke right in with it.
Yeah, Michael Massey is he made so many bad calls, not just in favor of Lewis, but also he got some that went Max's way too. But the point being is, I kind of wanted to say it was like the 2005 season where it was really just Texas and USC were really the new ones, and then like Lewis was like USC, like
he was the team. He represented the team that
champ.
won the most recently.
Yeah, and then Texas was like the newcomer, like kind of like looking to get back to like get to glory, kind of like how like say like Red Bull, but like actually hadn't gotten there. And then but then I was like also thinking, but wait, the national championship wouldn't go quite like Abu Dhabi. So I would say if we're gonna have I would say that with the 2016-17 Clemson-Bama game where Clemson scored with the second left. Because it looked like for the most of that game, Bama was going to win. And then Clemson came back and won it late.
Yeah.
So.
Hold on.
So, yeah, I would say definitely those. That's clearly kind of how I was describing it. But again, great Formula One season. Despite Michael Massey making a fumble in the bag a lot. I think also with the national championship game, also like it was because there's also the controversial pick play with like Clemson Bama, even though I will defend that it's not a pick play to the day I die. Just like with the way like how Formula One, like the controversial calls went at the end of that. Yeah. That's kind of like, so I kind of thought about that too. I originally just wanted to say it was the 2016 when it was Clemson Bama, but it was not just all Clemson Bama that year. It's like that was, and then like if you wanted to say that, then you could have said 2018.
What about 2017 Georgia Bama?
No, because Georgia wasn't a clear team the entire year. Obviously, because they weren't like the two best teams the entire year. Obviously, like
Clemson, and then then Clemson and Alabama played each other in the playoff.
And the semifinal. Yeah, exactly.
Guys, we got a severe storm coming, so we gotta kind of wrap this up real quick. But
he's got to go. He's got to hunker down.
we got a tornado or something coming. But I didn't want to say. I know we will. But I wanted to say, so for Florida, just real quick, I think their best case is 8-4, worst case 6-6.
Wow, you're a lot harsher on them than I am. That's a surprise. But yeah.
Did you give yours, Connor?
Yeah, I think I said 8-4, maybe 7-5. I can't remember. But yeah. So I think that was it. I don't think there was anything else we wanted to talk about.
Nope.
So guys, we decided we'll be taking a break for the next probably 2 weeks. We might not be back. Probably not actually be back until after the championship game.
I thought we were doing it before.
We'll probably we'll come back. We'll come back after the playoff games, but before the championship game.
Okay.
We can do that.
We can look at an update for most of the bowl predictions and stuff like that. Give our thoughts on playoff games and any of the other bowl games that did happen, and then we'll come back obviously after the championship game. We also I plan on being the host of the next great game show talking about college football. So anyone that's watching, be ready and learn as much about college football as you can.
Don't forget about the award show.
The award show, that will be.
We will put some stuff out for that. We will put surveys out for that.
Yeah, we'll probably do some surveys and stuff. That will probably be. Do you want to make that we can talk about?
You know what? It'd be better if we did that and on Kos's YouTube channel, just kind of a poll that goes out to people. We could do it.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
We'll do it. I'm going to do it on SurveyMonkey. That's how we're going to go about doing it. We're not going to, because I don't want people to see their results and change the result. So that's how we're going to go about that.
All right.
But so that's it for now. We'll be back in about 3 weeks or so. Once the playoffs have been played, to talk about that and all the bowl stuff.
Yep.
And we will be doing another show after the championship game. That will be our championship recap, and then our awards show will probably be either that same week or the week after. We'll figure out all the details later.
Thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it.
Yep. And if you are in my channel, feel free to like and subscribe to my channel as well, since that's where it's streaming as well.
All right.
Subscribe to both for the great ones.
And we wish everyone a happy and safe
take us out, Connor.
Since we won't be back until then.
You got to take us out. You got to introduce us.
So for Andrew Supermax Coster.
You got dang right.
Where's the music? I'm waiting.
Where's the music? I had lost the music.
No, he lost the music. I'm waiting.
Okay. We'll go out with it.
Play the Texas is back thing. There you go.
No, wait, that was time.
I'm waiting for the Supermax music. I'm waiting for the Supermax. For Ryan Bowling Travel, I am Connor. Raymond made the wrong choice authority. This is the week. This has been the Week Sale Podcast.
Max
We hope you all
Verstappen's
have
a
a safe and happy and very Merry
Holidays.
Christmas.
And I hope I'm
we
not
will
going to
see you
die
guys
from a
after
tornado.
the new year.
Yeah. And hope Ryan doesn't go down like Notre Dame's chances of winning a big bowl game do.
So we hope you have a very happy and safe Christmas and a happy New Year. And thanks, Tim, for stopping in right at the very end. Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night, guys.